Okay, namaste everyone. We are here to have the next Nakshatra video in the series. Today is going to be Krittika. So this has taken a lot of time, and hopefully what we have to say is worth the wait for whoever has been waiting also. So we'll start off with Aditya. Aditya, you can go ahead and take the lead of sorts.
Okay, great. Hello, everyone. So far, so good. Everyone enjoy the, what is that? Winter solstice coming soon, correct? I just saw the time. It's tomorrow,
Yeah,
21st,
tomorrow, yeah.
21st December. Something happened. I don't know. Yeah, so 21st December, 9:30, 9:40 p.m. So Central Time. Merry Christmas, everyone. Soon the year is going to end. And I wanted to do this Krittika video before this year ends, at least we should have Krittika. Let me share my screen. Hopefully you can see my screen.
Yeah, we can. Yeah.
Perfect. So Krittika, let's start with. So Krittika, if you see the sign or the nakshatra of Krittika falls into the Aries and the Taurus sign. Yeah, my sound is good. Everything audible.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So if you say Krittika Nakshatra, it falls in the first pada. No, every nakshatra has 4 padas. The first pada falls in Aries, which is the natural first house, and the last 3 padas falls in Taurus, which is second house. Okay. What is first and second house? Now, if you say first Aries, let's consider about first house and the second house. First house is for physical body, health, forehead, brain, thoughts, interest, etc. The second house is related to wealth, family, resources, face. People say that the face, the whole physical body is the first house, but the face itself is the second house. Taste and all those things are governed from the second house. So if you see Krittika, you can see a lot of themes related to the first and the second house. And we'll see as we progress how this first and the second house go ahead, and we'll try to understand the relationship between that. But remember, Krittika Nakshatra falls in first and second house of the Kalpurush chart. So naturally, the first and second house themes will be important. The symbol of this nakshatra is given as a knife or a blade. Okay. Just with the symbol, you can understand what is Krittika Nakshatra will be. Krittika. The word Krittika is also critical. Critical means to cut. Now, being critical, people envy others because of being critical. But I will say, since I'm in the field of science and research, being critical is very important. If someone is critical about your thoughts, your ideas, that helps us to grow, in fact. Think in a different way, in a much constructive manner, and come up with new ideas. So being critical is not something that the other person is envy of you, or maybe jealous of you, or maybe do not like you or something, but take it in a positive way, which we generally don't take. We really take it on face value and consider that as an insult or something, but I think that should be avoided. I was also like that once upon a time. But as age grows, you learn all those themes, and probably I came to understand that being critical is not that bad. Of course, the hidden motive can be different. That's up to the person. And we are not saying, but just being critical is, if you just take that attitude, it's not bad. Go with that. Okay. Understand, if we did not have knife or blade, what would our life have been? Okay. But just from the symbol, you can understand how these natives will be. It may be they may be very critical. They may cut your thoughts, cut your ideas, cut your speech, something like that. And when that happens, understand that there is some Kritika theme playing there. Okay. Now, where is Kritika lying? As I said, the last pada of Aries and the first 3 padas of Taurus. So it spans from the range of 26 degree 40 minutes of Aries till Taurus 10 degrees. Okay. if you see annually when the sun transits during this part of the zodiac, it is from every time from 10th May to 24th May, around that part, around that time of the year, the sun is in Krittika Nakshatra from 10th May to 24th May. Okay, fine. Since being an astronomer, how we can neglect stars? Krittika Nakshatra is in English, it is called Pleiades constellation. In fact, in astronomy, Pleiades is an open star cluster. Okay, there are different star, of course, the word cluster, star clusters of stars. There are two types of clusters generally in astronomy. One is the globular clusters, which is like gravitationally bound, very spherical. And then there is open clusters, spread apart. Okay, globular clusters, they are gravitationally bound. They are globules, like a globule, like a ball. And Krittika is basically an open cluster. You cannot see a particular shape. You cannot see a spherical shape when you look at the Krittika Nakshatra, even through a telescope. You will see like there are some stars and spread apart. And if you see through a telescope, there are six. Some people say there are six main stars. Some people they say there are seven main stars. There are six main stars you can see. Let's go with the analogy of mythology. There's six main stars you can see of the Krittika Nakshatra, and each star has got its own names, Alcyon and Merope and all those different names come. Anyway, this is not an astronomy class. I won't go deep into that. And there are many aspects of it. It's a very, these stars are very hot, radiates, very high, radiates, very hot. Again, you see the concept of, which I'm going to soon introduce, the concept of fire, the concept of Agni comes into the picture, which is nothing but the deity of Krittika actually. And you could see a reflection nebula, blue reflection nebula, in fact. But sorry, I'm going to technicality. Let's come back to astrology rather than astronomy. But very hot stars, actually. Okay, and it's a star cluster system. This is an Aries sign here. You will see you can see a Krittika Nakshatra even from a naked eye, where you will see some patch of some group of some stars on a clear moonless night. If you go to a much less light pollution and all, you could be able to see some like a very fuzzy patch or something like very far away, some stars. Okay. And remember, again, one more astronomical concept. It's a very young age stellar cluster, in fact, because globular clusters can be very old. This is an open cluster, which is not much. It's just 100 million years old, in fact. That's the age of this cluster astronomically, which is very new compared to the other star clusters which we have in the sky. So it's a very young star cluster. This is the Aries, Alpha, Beta. You are Hamal and Sheraton, which is Ashwini Nakshatra. Then you have Barni, and then comes Krittika, where you see these are the stars, group of stars located there. And this is a Taurus constellation here. So just at the end of the Aries and beginning of Taurus, you will have those. The main Yogatara of Krittika is Alcyon, and that happens at around 6 degree 9 minutes of Taurus. Okay, so remember, Krittika Nakshatra spans from 26 degree 40 minutes of Aries to 10 degrees of Taurus, and you have this star at 6 degree 9 minutes. If you see those, our vernal equinox position, we know the vernal equinox position is basically moving backward. At today, it is in the Uttar Bhadrapada Nakshatra, Pada 1. But if you trace back and it is moving backward, and if you calculate when the vernal equinox was in Krittika Nakshatra, it was around the time of 1600 to 2600 BCE, before Common Era. So 1600 to 2600, plus if you add 2000 years more, even from 2600, because now it is 2023, around about 4,000, 4,600 or 3,600, around 4,000 years back from today, you have the vernal equinox in Krittika. What was that time during that time? Of course, the Harappan period or the Indus Valley, the peak of the Indus Valley civilization was during that time. Okay. There's a whole lot of thing I can talk about, like you can understand if the vernal equinox goes from each nakshatra, how the things in the society change on a larger basis in a around 1,000-year cycle, because 27 nakshatras, the vernal equinox takes 26,000 years, so that means each nakshatra will have 1,000 years. The vernal equinox transits through each nakshatra in 1,000 years. So when Krittika Nakshatra was going through or when vernal equinox was going through Krittika Nakshatra, we had the peak of Indus Valley civilization. And remember, Indus Valley civilization, what it is known for, it was a very advanced civilization. We have the seals, we have the pottery, we have those terracotta images, baked bricks, baking bricks are, no, remember, it's 5,000 years old technique. Even the bricks were baked at that time. Baking the bricks, baking means what? Again, the concept of fire. They know about the concept of fire. So again, fire element is there. What was the main society time during that time when this civilization was going through? Growing crops. Crops means what? Food. Food is connected to what house? Second house again. So all the themes of second house you can see during that time. And that is very evident that even in the seals, they have such animals printed, and this is the script of the Indus Valley, which is still a mystery, which we don't know what it is yet. But some pictures of animals are coming into there. Some growth agriculture theme, baked bricks theme, and you see there are some toys. Looks like some bullock cart or something. There is like a wheel, and someone is driving a bullock cart with some pot in that bullock cart. So you can understand very much life is very much similar to what we see in our normal villages in India. I don't know, now villages are also getting extinct these days. But bullock cart, having animals, potteries and all those things. So very advanced civilization, which trace, even that traces of it can be even seen today after 4,000 years later. This is one of the famous sculpture from the Indus Valley civilization. Is some noble man, maybe some high-class priest or something. So there you could see high-class priest. So they know about something about religion also during those times. Okay. This is another famous thing which we see. If you ask what is this is some script here of Indus Valley. But you can see some animals here. 1, 2, 3, 4, some animals. And then you see this person who is sitting in some posture. Many people say that it's the image of Lord Shiva, image of Pashupatinath. Pashupatinath. Pashu means animals, Pati, Lord of animals. Pashupatinath thing. Some people say that it is something different, horn god or something. I don't know. You can see it is very big horns it has got. But again, the concept of money, because that was again barter system there, exchange, money, what again, all related to second house themes you can see. Animals, growing crops. And this seal is about 2000 BC from 2350 BC, exactly during that time of when the vernal equinox was in Krittika Nakshatra, which I said it was between 1600 to 2600 BCE. So very, very, very much into that era. Shiva was even known then, remember. The other thing which you say, when Rigveda was composed or Rigveda was written, controversies again exist there. Scholars believe around 1500 to 1000 BC. If you want to take a more conservative dates, it is around 1900 to 1200 BC. So that means Rigveda was composed during a time, if we believe this, subjected to whatever controversies that's there in the society right now. But when Krittika Nakshatra was in, when vernal equinox was in Krittika Nakshatra, you can say that the Rigveda was composed during that time. And if you read Rigveda, if some of you have gone through that, there are a lot of hymns dedicated to Lord Indra, and the next is for Agni. Indra and Agni are the main gods there. These two are the main gods, because I don't know why. You can say that that's an agriculture. So rainfall is very important to them. We don't know. And at the same time, Indra is considered as the hero in Rig Veda. Okay. The next hymns is for lot many hymns dedicated to Agni. So definitely Agni and Indra were the two main gods of during the Vedic period. Okay. And remember, maybe I attribute this to vernal equinox passing through the Krittika Nakshatra. The Lord is Agni. Can be one of the reasons why it is people consider the importance of Agni and the fire element and all those things. Okay. And it's a very strange that even they understood the importance of water, the rainfall, and it was said that the Indra is the one who brings them the rainfall. Interestingly, what we see during the time of when around 5,000, 10,000 years back, it was end of ice age. So ice age came to an end, temperature of the earth increased, and all the things which were in the form of snow got melted and the water came down. They all melted and the water, and you have river systems and all, and that can be used for doing agriculture. So it was said that this Indra goes and brings the rainfall. And another story is we know about Vrittasur. If you remember, he was blocking that all water, and Indra goes and kills Vrittasur and releases all the water. And interestingly, that's the end of Ice Age too. And the water is coming, the Ice Age ended, temperature increased, water melted, came in the form of rivers and all, and people could use that for irrigation and other purposes for agriculture. So that's why they considered Indra as one of the heroes in Rig Veda, and many hymns were dedicated to Lord Indra. You also see the importance of Indra in Mahabharata. If you remember, I think there was this Govardhan scenario, correct? When in Gokul, when everyone was supposed to pray Indra, Lord Krishna says that why are you praying to Indra? We should pray to Govardhan and all. And that scenario is very great, that Lord Indra got angry, he made the rainfall, and then Lord Krishna lifted the Govardhan with his one finger, and then everybody took shelter beneath Govardhan. So, of course, Indra was defeated at that time. But you can see again that in the society of during that time, how much importance was given to Indra. Remember, when Mahabharata happened, again, there's a controversy for the dates, but when Mahabharata happened, maybe in the next Nakshatra video of Rohini, we will see that the vernal equinox was in Rohini again. Okay, if you go 1,000 years back. So that's the time when vernal equinox was transiting Rohini, Mahabharata may have occurred. That's what the current scenario or current dates look like. But again, with Agni, we have again with Indra, we have a lot of importance given to Agni. Okay, who is nothing but the deity of Krittika Nakshatra. So Agni, Angiras is the father of Agni. Okay, I'm just giving the family biodata of Agni, son of Dyaus and Prithvi, and also sometimes it is called son of Brahma. Agni's consort is Swaha. We always, when we put oblations into the fire, we always call it Swaha. Okay, Swaha is the consort of Agni. Agni has got Pavak, and there are not only one consort. Agni has got many wives: Pavaka, Pavaman, Suchi, Mila, Agneya. All those are different names of Agni. Okay, requires love and affection to sustain. Of course, now you have to sustain the Agni, sustain the fire. You have to input oblations to it, give food to it. Okay. If it is Agni is too strong, what it can do? It can also burn everything. It can also kill you also. Okay. So Agni can be used in two different forms. One, we know we use Agni daily. Agni is inside us too. We need fire basically to digest our food. Okay. What happens when we eat food? Hydrochloric acid, and then that's what is needed. Agneshe, that's one organ. I don't remember, maybe Pittashe, Agneshe, and all those things are the elements which we also have in our body to give the fire. Okay, so we need fire to digest our food. When the fire but when the fire element is high, our temperature of the body also becomes high during fever time, and then you're on the bed. So balance of fire element is required. A balance of everything is required. That's what the life is. Similarly, Agni, when it is balanced, you can it's very good. You can use it for some constructive purpose, baking bricks, making food, all those things. Protection, we used Agni for protecting from other wild animals. But at the same time, Agni, when it becomes too ferocious, it can also destroy you, it can also kill you, it can also burn you. Okay, so Agni has got two forms. One, sustenance, and it can be used in a very positive ways. Another, it can even destroy you. Okay. Now, what is Agni? Agni Dev is considered as nothing but a mediator between humans and gods. Whatever you put offerings into the fire, Agni Dev consumes it and then, Agni Dev takes it and then gives it to the god. So he is like a postman, taking all the oblations from you and giving it to the higher realms or to the higher gods. So he is like a messenger taking all your offerings and all and giving it to the higher world. So he is like a mediator in between. All these things can be, why am I saying this is, you can understand the nature of Krittika natives through all these qualities. Like, for example, mediator. Now, what can you understand with this quality of Agni with the Krittika Nakshatra native? Krittika Nakshatra native can be, I have seen in many ways, they can be very good in connecting people, connecting two different groups probably, because Agni is a mediator between the human level and the god level. So these people can be a mediator between humans, between two teams, collaboration between two teams maybe. He can be a link between them. So some role they can play like that. Okay. Requires love and affection to sustain. That means what? If you don't put things in the fire, the fire will go out. So same thing here, these people maybe require love and affection a lot. Again, Taurus, Rashi and all, you can see those things. So, or if it is not given to them all those proper nourishment or thing, then they may have some psychological problem or some problem, some issues they may have. Okay. And these people can have two different ways probably also. Like when used in a proper way, they can flourish and they can be good for society. But if not, they can be destroying everything and maybe destroy his own creator also. That's what, correct? Agni has the potential to burn the other people, like his own creator who made fire. And if you are not careful, it can burn that person who created the Agni. So same thing can happen with these people too. So that's what Krittika Nakshatra natives are, something like that. Okay. And as I said, this Indra and Agni, there are many hymns given in Rig Veda, so you can understand their importance of Agni. Now, I want to give you this, the directions. We have all those 10 directions because Dasho Disha, we say Dasho Disha. Dasho means 10 directions. What are the 10 directions? East, west, south, north. Okay, so that is your 4. Then you have in between northeast, northwest, southeast, southwest. So now 4 plus 4 makes 8. And then you also have another 2 directions. One is up and one is below. So there are 10 directions basically, Dasho Disha, and all 10 directions. East, west, south, north. Then you have northeast, northwest, southeast, southwest. So that makes 8, and then up and below. Now each direction is given to some particular deity. Like for example, east, which is called Purva Disha in Hindi, east is the Lord is Indra. Now remember, Indra is a deity of Jyeshtha Nakshatra. We know that. West is given, the deity of western direction is Varuna, who is the Lord of Satabisha Nakshatra, who is the deity of Satabisha. Uttar Nakshatra, or the north direction, is given to Kubera. Now Kubera is, we don't have anything like Kubera as a deity in the Nakshatra system. If you go to south, we have Yama. Of course, the Lord is Yama, and Yama is the deity of Bharni Nakshatra. Agneya, now that is southeast. Southeast is called as Agneya. Agne, again, Agni, comes from the word Agni. Agneya direction. Agni is the deity of Krittika. Northwest is called as Vayavya. Okay, Vayavya, Vayu. So Vayu is the Lord of northwest direction. Vayu is the Lord of the deity of Swati Nakshatra. Southwest is called as Nerutya. Nerutya direction comes from and you can see how these names are very similar to the deity names. Nerutya, Niritti, Lord of Mula Nakshatra, the deity of Mula Nakshatra. Ishanya. Ishanya means east, northeast direction. Ishan direction is given as Rudra. Okay. Rudra, Ardra. You can say something like Ardra Nakshatra, something. Vishnu is given as the Zenith, which is the top direction. And we know Vishnu is the deity of Shravana Nakshatra. Brahma, the below direction, is given as Nadir. Okay. And that is basically the bottom. And Brahma is the deity of Rohini Nakshatra. So you can see that all the directions, the deities of these directions are connected to the deities of nakshatras also. All like Brahma, Vishnu, they have Ishan, Rudra. If you say Ishan as Rudra, probably you can say it's Ardra, Mula, Swati, Kritika, Barni. Only Kubera, I don't know Kubera. What direct? There's no nakshatra given to Kubera, but all these deities of the directions are assigned some deity of
I
nakshatras
mean,
too.
potentially for Kubera could be Uttarashada, right? That's the Mongoose Nakshatra. That could be
Possible.
one potential, yeah.
Possible.
Yeah,
Now, I've not done much research on these nakshatras,
right.
how it stands here, but you can think of something. It's very interesting to see that all the directions the Lord is connected with some nakshatra. Yeah, you can say Kubera with Uttarashada. Maybe Abhijit. That's why the nakshatra is gone. You
Right.
know,
Right.
possible. We don't know. We don't know. Okay, now Agni has got various names. If you see, it's called Pavaka, sanctifier of everything. See, to understand nakshatra, natives of nakshatra, understanding the deity, it's one of the big things. And many qualities of that understanding the deity can give you a good understanding of nakshatras also. And how to understand the qualities of the deity through by their own names, you can understand. Like Pavaka, there's another name of Agni Pavaka, who is a sanctifier of everything. He sanctifies, he purifies. Okay. Havya Vahana, one who carries the sacrificial butter. Because what do you do when you put in Agni in Yajna and all? You put fire, or you put butter, you put ghee. Okay. So he carries that ghee and gives it to the god. So one who carries the butter, Havya Vahana. Then you have Saptajivi. Saptajivi means Sapta means seven. Jiva means tongue. So he has got 7 tongues. And then they say that Agni takes the ghee from his 7 tongues. Okay, so again, 7, the number 7 is coming. And there will be something which I will talk about Krittika Nakshatra also, the 7 stars and all those things later. Vahani, traveling with wind. Anala is one of the Vasus. Utashna, nothing, I don't know what is the meaning of that. Chitra color means colorful light. Jwala, it's like glowing. Okay, Vaisvanara, Vibhavasu, whose light is wealth. Dhumaketu, one is crowned with smoke. And there are many names like Sikhi, Pingesha, Plavanga, Bhuriteja, Rudragarva, Hiranyakrit. So there are several names of Agni. So again, all these names you can see it in the Rig Veda. So all these names comes it in the Rigvedic text. Okay, anyway, there's a lot of Agnis. Let's understand the story of Agni. That will give you some qualities of Agni Dev, and that will also tell you some qualities of Krittika Nakshatra natives too. So we see this Great Bear constellation, very famous constellation, probably everywhere in the world people don't know. It's the Great Bear constellation in Western world as it is called Great Bear, but when you go in India, it is called Saptarishi Mandal, Saptarishi. And there are Saptarishi, 7 rishis, and the names are given different names. In Western world, it is given different name, but in India, you go, it's called 7 rishis. So given the names of 7 sages, Kratu, Pulaha, Pulatsya, Atri, Angiras, Vasishta, and Marichi. Okay. So these are all 7 rishis. You know, if you know Pulastya is actually the father's father of Ravan. Is Pulastya. Okay. So Pulastya is grandfather of our Mr. Ravan, or Dr. Ravan, you can say him. Okay. So Vasishta and Arundhati, very famous. Angiras, father of probably, I guess, Jupiter, Angiras. Okay, so there are 7 rishis, and it is said that these 7 rishis, Agni comes to these 7 rishis, and what happens is one day it seems that the seven rishis had gone to fetch water or take a bath somewhere, outside in the lake or a pond. I don't know whether they have gone to take bath or whether they have gone to fetch water or something. And Agni is very having a flirtatious nature. And what he does, he was flirting with the wives. And then what happens? Later, the sages comes to know that Agni is flirting with the wives, and I don't know whether the wife flirted or not, but whatever it is, the story. And then they abandoned their wife. But out of the seven rishis, of course, they are having seven wives too. The one wife comes back, okay, to the sages, and the six other wives stayed there. So the one wife which comes back is actually the wife of Vasishtha, which is Arundhati. So Arundhati comes back, and the six of the sages' wives are flirting with Agni, and the sages curse them or something, and then they abandon them. And these are the six wives that forms the Pleiades or the Krittika Nakshatra. So that's the story. Okay, and the wife who comes back, here in the picture it is Vasishtha and Arundhati comes back. Okay, so even today in many Indian cultures during marriage ceremony, it's there in my custom. In fact, in my custom, they show that after the marriage is done, the priest takes us outside and then they show us this star, this Vasishtha star. Okay, and if you see, and then some offerings. I still remember in my community we had to offer rice and all something to that, and it's like an oblations and all those, and the priest does that. And take blessings from this Vasishtha and Arundhati. Now, message is basically, and if you clearly see from a telescope, it's a binary star system. If you see from the telescope, you can see this star, the Mizar. It is called as the Mizar and Alcor in the Western world. Mizar is Vasishtha, and Alcor is a very small dim star, very next to the Mizar. Once upon a time, this was used as, if your eyesight is good or not, they will use this star. If you could see that star as two different stars, then your eyesight is good. Now, of course, that cannot be taken as a standard test because of light pollution and all these days, and you can't see properly, but that was a test before to whether you have a good eyesight or not. And anyway, so this was well-known custom in India to show this Vasishtha and Arundhati. And clearly from telescope, you could see that binary stars. And even with naked eye, if a good naked eye, good sky conditions and all those, you can see that as two different stars. But I have never seen that as two different stars. Through telescope, I have seen it, definitely. But there are two stars. But it's so interesting that the priest will tell you about those, he will pay oblations, and he will tell the husband and the wife that as Vasishtha and Arundhati are together, and Arundhati did not leave Vasishtha, you both also should not leave, and you both should be together, and you both should share your all happiness and sadness and maintain all your family life and blah blah, all those things they will say. So that's the message basically the priest says, showing this Vasishtha star. And interestingly, there is also a scientific evidence that these stars are basically a binary stars. Okay, so that's the story, and that's how this Krittika Nakshatra got formed, and that's why we see all those six stars of Krittika Nakshatra. I don't know, 1, 2, 3, maybe 4, 5. I don't know which stars you can say, but yeah, the six stars of Krittika Nakshatra is formed. Okay, fine.
So
Now, that's
potentially
also
after that marriage ritual, then you're stuck with that person also, whether you like it or not. Because it's like Vasishtha and Agni.
Oh yeah, true.
That's the thing. Yeah.
Now, Lord Kartikeya story is connected with Krittika Nakshatra. Now, what is the story of Kartikeya? We have this demon called Tarkasur, if you know. Now, this is the demon Tarkasur, and he had a blessing. The blessing was Tarkasur can only be killed from the offspring of Shiva and Parvati. That was the boon given to him, because he was not the boon, he was asking Brahma the immortality boon. Brahma was not giving him, and then he said, okay, ask me something else, because you have to die one day. And then he said, okay, let me die with the hands of son of Shiva and Parvati, because the story is like Shiva, after Sati got burnt herself in the fire, Shiva became almost like a recluse, and Shiva was disinterested in family affairs and all. So it was like, okay, where Shiva will make a family and where Shiva will reproduce and all those things, and it's not going to happen. So Tarkasur said, I will say in such a way, I will trick Brahma, and anyway, Shiva is not going to have son in any way as a physical son. So he asked that, let me be killed by the son of Shiva and Parvati. And he was thinking that they are not going to have any children. So I am almost like immortal. Okay. So, but later, as we know, the efforts of Kamadeva and all, like how he has to go and create the love in the mind of Shiva, and he got burnt. The story of immolation or not, the burning of Lord Kamadev. And but finally, Shiva and Parvati did produce this child, Kartikeya. But people knew at the time that if Tarkasur comes to know, then he's going to go behind this child and kill him and cause some harm. So what they did was they take this child, this small young child Kartikeya, to the Pleiades constellation, where there are the 6 wives of say our sages, and it is these 6 wives who takes the care of Kartikeya. And Kartikeya grew there, and I think these were the 6 mothers, foster mother of Lord Kartikeya. And also remember, Kartikeya is also called Shanmuga. Shanmuga means 6 face. 6, Muga, Mukham means face, 6 face, because he wanted to see the 6 mothers at one go, Every mother wanted to see him, so he developed the 6 face so that he can, each one of his face will be with one of the mother. So Lord Kartikeya grew under the care of Pleiades constellation. So Kartikeya and Krittika Nakshatra, there is some connection there. And then finally Kartikeya grew up, and then when he became a young boy, then finally he was able, now he was a very warrior type, and he finally killed Tarkasur. That's the story. But to protect him from the danger of Tarkasur, he was taken from his biological parents, and then he grew up in the midst of Pleiades Nakshatra, or the Krittika Nakshatra. Hence the name Kartikeya comes. From the word Krittika comes the word Kartikeya. Now, with this, all these stories which I have said about Agni, with this, what we understand, see, what was Kartikeya born for? Kartikeya was born to kill Tarkasur. There is some aim for them. So these natives are born for some purpose in their life, some purpose which they maybe have been unfulfilled in the previous life. Kartikeya was taken away from his biological parents, and then he grew up in the midst of Krittika or Nakshatra, or the wives of those 6 sages. So people of Krittika Nakshatra may have some abandonment issues. Maybe they may be separated from their parents, either physically or mentally, or they may be living far. Maybe they may be living. There are so many times I've seen Krittika Nakshatra people. They said that, oh, I was living with my grandparents. My mother and father were in a different city. My father had a job. He always has to transfer and something. So I was staying with my grandparents most of the time. Like I know some few friends of mine who said that. One of my other friend who had Krittika, prominent Krittika, is both of his parents died at a very early age. So he was without parents, and then his uncle took care of him. So there is some abandonment issues I've seen with Krittika Nakshatra strongly. In some cases, I've seen that either the mother dies early or the father dying early. That also I have seen. Yeah, these are some of my, I'm remembering some of my friends' horoscope right now. I'm thinking from that. So there is some abandonment issue. Either they may be separated physically. If not, it's not that their parents will always die, but can be separated because of some posting of their father or something. They are always far away. Not always, but they can be far away. Even if they are together, either mentally their thoughts may not match. So that also is one thing. Agni, as we know, it's a deity. So it has got, it eats, or you have to give butter, or you have to give ghee in the fire. So it is a voracious eater. So Krittika Nakshatra, I've seen people with good appetite also. I've seen that. No. Remembering few friends of mine. Okay. Voracious eater. A fire element is prominent. So that's why. See, it's nothing wrong. Okay, their element, the digestion power is maybe much stronger. So probably they feel more hungry. Now the symbol of this nakshatra is, as I said, is blade, or the scissor, or basically the knife. So very skillful in cutting. Okay. I've seen some of the natives of Krittika, like if you give them even to cut an onion, oh, they cut it like, no, it takes such a long time. I'm like, my oil is getting heated up and all. And this fellow will just cut like taking its own time and cutting with nice cubes. I said, do it fast. Ready to prepare food and all. Like back in the days when we have friends and all living together and making food. I have this one who was Krittika guy. And I will be like, okay, I'm putting or making it ready, and ask him to cut onions. And he will be like, slowly, nicely, as if it takes such a long time. He said, if you take such a long time, how can we do? And I have like cut fast and then put it. But they have a very skillful style of cutting things, and even vegetable cutting. You see you give a vegetable cutting for a Krittika Nakshatra native, and you will see their abilities with knife and all. Artistic nature again. Again, as I said, Agni was mediator between the teams. So it's like between human and God. So they can be again a mediator. Agni is a voracious eater. So they people may be having some dealing with some nourishment. No, Agni has to be nourished. To sustain Agni, you have to put oblations or your offerings there. Then only the Agni survives. So it's like something related to maybe dietitian, especially, or nourishment industry. These people can be seen into. Good for them. Krittika Nakshatra characteristic is a star of fire. The power is to burn and purify. Basis above is to give heat. Basis below is light. To be the eater for the foods of gods. The power of this nakshatra is called Dahana Shakti. Power to burn and purify. And result of Shakti basis and desire is burning or purification. So there's some purification. There is some burning element, purification element, consumption element, nourishment element with this. The Purushartha is Kama. It's a Dev Rakshat Gana Nakshatra. Trimurti is Shiva. Animal is the female goat, and the bird symbol is peacock. So again, you can see this Trimurti Shiva concept, Kama, Purusharth Kama. So it's an Agni burning. So a lot of destructions can also be seen with this nakshatra. The tree associated with this nakshatra is the cluster fig tree. Okay, the cluster fig tree is the nakshatra tree for this Krittika. Fig trees, very good. Importance of fig trees are digestive health. Again, digestion, Agni coming into the picture. Lower cholesterol levels, heart health, diabetes, solution for diabetes, increased bone density, hair and skin issues. It can be impossible. Importance of the fig tree. Again, one of my favorite thing, if you want to understand the Krittika Nakshatra, as I said, take the first pada, comes under Aries. So if I take Krittika Nakshatra, the 4 padas of Krittika Nakshatra falls into Sagittarius, Capricorn, Aquarius, and Pisces. The first pada falls into Aries Nakshatra, so that's why it is Mars. Nakshatra Lord, Krittika is the sun is the Lord of Krittika Nakshatra. So that's why I would put Nakshatra Lord as sun throughout. Since the first pada is Sagittarius, its Lord is Jupiter. Second pada is Capricorn, so Saturn. Third pada is Aquarius, so again Saturn. Fourth pada is again Pisces, so comes Jupiter. And the second, third pada, the Rashi is Taurus, so that's why Venus. So if you see this chart, the first pada has got importance of Mars and Jupiter. The second pada, Venus and Saturn. Third pada also Venus and Saturn. Fourth pada is Venus and Jupiter. So a lot of energies related to sun, definitely, because it's the Krittika Nakshatra. And then Venus comes into the picture with, of course, depending upon what pada, you will get Saturn energies, Jupiter energies, Martian energies. What is sun? Sun is nothing but governor, management, independent nature. Venus, again, Venus is a lot of knowledge, partners, sexual nature, Agni, flirtatious nature, second house. Now, if I ask you which planet exalts in the Taurus sign, it's very clear. You may say that moon, correct? Moon exalts at what degree? 3 degree of Taurus. That comes under Krittika Nakshatra. So moon exalts in this nakshatra. So there's also something seen, special position of moon is in this nakshatra too. The female goat, animal symbol of Krittika Nakshatra. Goat, again, what is goat used for? Goat can be used for their milk products, goat cheese, goat milk. Goat can be also be used for meat, very famous, mutton. So mutton or meat or milk, cheese, what all these things you can think of, nourishment again, feeding, second house connection. So definitely second house connection things with Krittika Nakshatra. And as I said, moon exalts in the Krittika Nakshatra, so resources and all. Now again, some individuals where we see this Krittika Nakshatra. This is Albrecht von Graff. He's an ophthalmologist. And you can see it's Krittika Ketu, Sun and Mercury both are in Krittika Nakshatra in the 10th house. And he, of course, studied philosophy, logic, natural science, treatment of eyes and all. Again, eyes, second house, eye disorders, correct? Because second house is again related to your eyes, optics. So a lot of Krittika themes with this person. He also designed a knife, which is called as Graff knife for cataract surgery. Because what is knife? Again, symbol of Krittika Nakshatra is knife. So you can clearly see how the themes of Krittika Nakshatra is playing in this guy's chart, where he has got 2 planets in Krittika. In fact, I did show his chart somewhere in for Ashwini Nakshatra also, but you can see for again, very much prominently seen, the themes are matching with Krittika Nakshatra thing too. Okay, and he developed this instrument for surgery and all those things. Old guy, 1828 person, but he was the one who developed this special knife for surgery. Krittika themes, cutting, surgery. Ambedkar Sahab, our Mercury is in the Bharni Nakshatra and was a law and justice minister in the first. But again, you can see Mars is in Krittika. Now, I need to highlight this as Mars in Krittika. What did, if you see our Shanmuga or the Lord Kartikeya, he fought with Tarkasura and he freed all other gods, correct? So you can see that the themes of Krittika Nakshatra is for fighting for others. Similarly, Dr. Ambedkar fighting for people who were, for Dalits and all those things, and then made a whole, is still revered a lot in, especially in Maharashtra, Mumbai and all those areas. Ambedkar is very much revered with a very high, people give a lot of respect to him. Mars is in Krittika. Mars, again, warrior. So you can see that how this nakshatra is fighting for other people's rights, just as a theme of Kartikeya. Now this guy, Gillette. Now don't get confused with that Gillette. This also guy actually developed this, shaving, our shaving blades. So King Cam Gillette, who was an American businessman who invented a best-selling safety razor. Gillette's innovation was the thin, inexpensive, disposable blade of stamped steel. Okay. Now, Gillette is often erroneously credited with the so-called razor and business model. It was later that company made, and then I think for his honor, that company was given that name. But he was not the one who developed, but he gave that idea, and later the real company took it, but gave the name as Gillette, something like that. But if you see again, Rahu in Krittika for this guy. Okay, we don't know the time. We know his birth date, so I just put a time 10 a.m. So Lagna may be a little bit off. It can be anything, but at least Rahu will not change its position. So Rahu is in Krittika Nakshatra, inventing blades again. See, I think the most which I enjoy making slides in this Nakshatra video is this part. Here I just tell in 5 minutes, but to make these slides, I have to think and I have to go back and I have to see, and there are like, this part takes the longest time, but I learned so much from this. I was not knowing about this. And it's, other things are all like, it's a textbook material type, but then this, when it comes, okay, that makes sense by his. And many times it will come very easy to me, but this time for Krittika, it was not that coming, but I learned a lot too. And I will I will tell you what it is in the coming slides, maybe the next slide. So I said, okay, if that guy makes, if that guy makes the Gillette blade, I should also Swiss knife. Let's see who invented the Swiss knife. And then I come up with this guy, Karl Elsner, and then I see his chart, but his chart has no Krittika. And I was like, what is that? And in many charts I came across where I saw, I thought that this looks like a Krittika theme, but the Krittika themes of Krittika, I don't know if they are Navamsha and all those things. So forget about that. Of course, I can calculate Navamsha from other planets, not with Moon and Lagna, but I can do for other planets. But then what I saw in the research, when I was doing this, I thought that this may sounds like a Krittika, but it won't be Krittika. It comes a lot of with Chitra and Vishaka Nakshatra. Again, remember, Vishaka is what? The deity is Indra Agni. Indra and Agni. Agni also comes there. Chitra also, and Chitra is divine, making Chitra, the Lord is Vishwakarma, making weapons, making all those instruments. So not only with this chart, there are 2-3 examples that came in, which I have not discussed here, which I thought that this will be like, looks like a Krittika theme, but then it will be more like Chitra Nakshatra or Vishaka Nakshatra.
Yeah,
Now
there's a difference though. No, just saying, adding what you said, like maybe the knife before was like for the surgery knife was for the face. This knife is more like a utility knife and all that. So it's like Chitra Vishaka makes sense for perhaps that way. For that.
correct. Can
Yeah.
be. And what I thought, Sandeep, was maybe they can be good collaborators. When you talk about Krittika Nakshatra, maybe they can be good collaborators with Vishaka people. They can be good collaborator with Chitra, because what will these people do? Vishaka is Indragni again, so makes sense. Chitra will utilize their energy to make some instruments and all, and then come up with some innovative idea. So if you have a Krittika Nakshatra, anyone with Krittika Nakshatra native, they should go and maybe collaborate with some Vishaka Nakshatra native or a Chitra Nakshatra native, and their ideas can be exchanged to make something new and innovation. So I was thinking good collaborations can happen to them. Yeah, so that was my point. Maybe because Kritika will have its own energy, Vishaka Nakshatra will have its own innovative energy, Chitra Nakshatra, and then combining them may can a good outcome may result in. And as you said, that can also be true. But this is not Kritika, but I just wanted to highlight that as a research point.
Interesting, because if Indragni is also considered, maybe you could say they might be good collaborators with Jeshta people also, because it's Jeshta Indra also.
Jeshta Indra also, yes.
Thing. Yeah, that's a good point actually.
The other thing was, I was lot of, then I said Kritika Agni, so a lot of chef, chef, that also comes. But when I see chef, everyone was more again Vishaka. Who is that? Gordon Ramsay. Like lot of chefs, like 2-3 I saw, and then it was like, oh, maybe with fire and all, but they came up with lot with Vishaka natives again. So that was something which I saw. It was very interesting to see that actually. So that's why I say this part of when I make people, that's the most interesting part for me. It takes a long time to research and all those, but this is the most fun part of the slides actually. As a researcher, I learn many things from in this section when I do it. Okay, very strange. The Great Fire of New York, again, fire. When I was looking, there was like 7 fire. I had some slides later, which I did not put it here now, but I was looking, there was 7. I just saw what are the great fires, and then this Great Fire of New York came in, and Rahu in Kritika, Sun and Mars in Mula. Again, I'm deviating again and again from the point. When I see this destruction themes and all, Mula Nakshatra also comes a lot into picture. Okay, that's I've seen again, like you go and see 6 December 92, that Masjid demolition and all. Again, Mula Nakshatra there is a lot of significance. You see it, our 20, what is that? Tsunami 20, what was that? 26th December 2004, Mula Nakshatra coming into picture. So destructions of Mula Nakshatra, and I did some research. I'm not going to talk any more detail because going off the point. I have some slides later, but let me stick to the point. Again, Rahu in Kritika, Sun and Mars in Mula. Makes sense. Great Fire of New York, which happened in December 16, 1835. Time unknown, but at least we know the positions here. Oppenheimer. Again, bomb, explosion, all those. What he has, Mercury in Kritika. Came up with that idea, Mercury, thoughts, calculation. If you have seen the movie, Oppenheimer movie, which got released just few months back, I was very thrilled to see, because I saw many physics equations there and it reminded me of my electrodynamics class there, which or in the movie they showed all those. But anyway, Mercury in Kritika, Mercury again, thoughts, where did he put his thoughts? Making Agni, making an atom bomb. What is atom bomb? Again, a big, huge form of Agni. Calculations in making atom bomb or Agni things. So Oppenheimer. What festivals now? That's another part. This is also another part which I enjoy. This human and this part is my favorite part. We said that Kritika goes from 26°40 to 10° of, I should put here, to Taurus 10°. So this is 10° of Taurus. Sorry for that. I should have put here Taurus. Sun transits Kritika from, as I said, from 10th May to 14th May. During that time, it's the peak summer season in India. Remember, it's like all fire going everywhere, you know, the temperature is very hot. What festivals do we celebrate during this time? You can, if anyone can think, take a pause and think what are the festivals that we celebrate during this time. Let's see.
I think the Holi is before that, right?
Holi is before that, March.
Already
One thing
Kartik
is
Purnima.
Kartik Purnima. Kartik
That's it.
Purnima happens when the moon is in Krittika Nakshatra. The full moon. Moon is in Krittika Nakshatra
Right.
every month. The full moon is in Krittika Nakshatra. That's why the name is called Kartik Mas. You know, Kartik Mas means when the full moon is in the Krittika Nakshatra, it is called as Kartik month, which happened just few days back. Okay. And so definitely great day. Even in some community, as in Maharashtra and all, they have Shravan month where they will not eat non-veg and all. But in many South Indian communities, in my community, Kartik month is considered as a very holy month where they won't eat non-veg and they won't eat all those. And every Mondays of Kartik, very considered to be very auspicious for us. In fact, after Diwali till that 15 days, we will have functions where they pray to the god and a goddess of each home, and then they will sing bhajans, they will sing songs. Very, very holy month for especially for people in Andhra, they do, I know. Okay, in Telugu community and all, and there are several even in Tamil communities and all. I have seen those considered very holy month, Kartik month. And it is on this Kartik Purnima day, we have Ras Leela, where Krishna and Radha, they said that they did a Ras Leela. Again, you know, the merry nature of Agni and the flirtatious, not, I won't say flirting, but at least having that joyful time with your partner and all. You could see those themes seeing during this time of the year. Okay, Kartik Purnima is one festival where moon is in the Krittika Nakshatra. Immediately you should think, when you say Kartik Purnima, there's also one more festival that comes up during this time, Guru Nanak Jayanti. That's the famous, because the day of Kartik Purnima is same day as Guru Nanak Jayanti for 6. Okay, so Guru Nanak Jayanti, again, the spiritual nature of Krittika Nakshatra, or you can see that. Agni is considered also, one side of Agni is that, but the other side of Agni is very highly spiritual. That also one should not forget. So very big day for Sikh community. Okay, so Guru Nanak Jayanti is celebrated when the full moon is in the Krittika Nakshatra, Guru Nanak Jayanti. Now this, Santhip, you may know this, this Atiratram is a Vedic ritual for Agni, and it's very, I don't know, I was struck with this when I saw it first time several years back. Actually, this is Atiratram, a Vedic ritual for Agni, and if you see this, I have given this link here. You people should see these 2 links. Very interesting. Especially, I don't know, in one of the link, I know some people who are doing some research on this, and I know them because they were my ex-professors. In fact, in one of those videos, I forget whether it's first or the second one. So what is this ritual is? In Kerala, they have this fire ritual. I think it was this was one thing was documented in 1975. It was by one of the professors of Harvard University. He documented this. And another thing which happened after several years in April 2011. In what they do is, it's a very old Vedic ritual. And if you see the mantras and all those things, it's a very different type of mantra and all, you know. It's by the sounds and all which they make, and the Shastra, and they have been, where they also have this type of structure they create there. And you can see how all these instruments are there. And it's a ritual followed from long time back, followed from the Vedic time, and it's still followed. In the due course of time, people just forgot, but what this Nambudris or the priest class of Kerala, they preserved it. And these people only know it how they do. It's not practiced anywhere else. It's only practiced now in Kerala and in Andhra. These are the 2 places they do now, not in many other places. And you see all those instruments, and then they make sounds. It's a 12-day festival. And hymns are produced, and very Vedic style of doing things, all Vedic style of doing and preparing food. They have shown all this in the document, and then they make this pillar, very geometrical shape structures and all. They make it in the form of bird and all. They offer this things. But what happens in that is, on the last day of the 12th, after the very last thing. They create this whole bundle or this whole what they say made up of what is called bundle. I don't know what is bundle term in English.
The whole gathering, the whole setup or whatnot, right?
Yeah,
Whatever
by
the
made
ritual.
the wooden structures which they make, like where the sacrifice and all is done. The last day you have to burn everything.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
and okay, that's the thing. They have to
The
burn
hall,
everything.
the hall which they make for the fire ritual, yeah.
Yes,
Basically that, yeah.
the hall
They're
which
burning
they
the
make.
hall, yeah.
It's a temporary hall, not like a
Right.
concrete hall, but temporary, like
Yeah.
made from leaves and wood and all. And
Right.
they burn this. And when they burn this, they say that the rain is followed. No, definitely the rain comes. Okay, that is what the thing is. They burn it and the rain comes. So in one of the video I have with one of my professors, he actually goes there, and what he is doing is, I don't remember whether it is the first video or second. You can see him. I used to work with him when I was in India, back in Bangalore. What he was doing is he was making his experiments in the April 2011 session, and he was trying to see. He's basically an optics guy. He was trying to get the spectrum of the particles which is emitted during this fire thing, and he wants to understand whether this has got some in the fire which you put and all, whether that has got some cloud seeding formation which brings the rain. That can be possible. So he's trying to understand the particle size, trying to understand the composition of particles, and through that artificial rain method, probably you can call. So that was his experiment actually. So, and the rain is always followed, it seems. And when the rain followed, it's like, your oblations have gone reached. That's the actual concept. So now we're trying to understand this procedure with some scientific ways, and why does the rain follow and all those. Very interesting. And the way they do this ritual and all, you should see, it's a very fantastic video. And the mantras they chant and all those, how they are trained and all. And it's a blessing that still they have preserved it, and they are still continuing it, and we should still preserve it. Let's see, but Thiratram. That's also a movie made. If you remember, Santhip
Yeah, that's right, yeah.
a movie actually made.
Yeah, famous Paidargam, if I'm not mistaken, yeah.
Paidrakam. Yes.
Yeah.
I like the songs of that movie a lot. Yes. Okay, but definitely watch for this. It's a dying ritual, but I think we should preserve it. And the way the geometry and all is made, it's a very systematic way of doing it. And that reminded me, even during in our wedding thing in village type, not in the cities and all, it's different, but you have to conduct that pandal again with the sticks and all those. And in that, where the marriage ceremony is going, they will put 3 bricks, and they will make some geometrical pattern and all, and that's a ritual how they do it and all. Even in my community, when marriages happen, very similar to those structures and all. So if you really go to villages and see how they do, it's fantastic to see how that all comes up. Okay, then I was trying to see what is this connection. Of course, we know that Kartikeya connection is with Krittika Nakshatra. But some people will say that the birth nakshatra of Kartikeya is Krittika Nakshatra. But I was trying to do some research on it, and I got through the web page, the birth of Kartikeya on the lunar calendar of the 6th day of the bright fortnight of Margashira month, the Krittika Nakshatra of Shashti Titi or Shuddha Paksha of Margashisha month, and which doesn't make any sense to me, because Margashisha Masa means what? Full moon is in Mrigashira. That's why the month name is Margashisha. 6th day of the bright fortnight means 9 days before Mrigashira. Now 9 days before Mrigashira will come as Dhanishta Nakshatra. So I was doing those calculations. So I don't know whether it's correct to say that the nakshatra of birth nakshatra of Kartikeya is Krittika. That may be not be correct. Okay, Krittika is associated with Kartikeya is associated with Krittika Nakshatra because, as I told the stories and how it went. There's also another thing which is Vaikashi Visakam. That's a birthday of Lord Kartikeya, they say. Vaikashi is during the mid-June. That is the Vaikashi month of Tamil. And it is Visakam Nakshatra. So Vishaka, in some community, believe that the birth nakshatra of Kartikeya is Vishaka Nakshatra. That also is said. Okay, so again, you see again Kartikeya and Vishaka Nakshatra again coming into the picture. There is some resemblance to this Kartikeya and Vishaka. Of course, Indragni and Agni we could think of. But don't think that the nakshatra, birth nakshatra of Kartikeya is Krittika. The birth nakshatra of Kartikeya can be Vishaka, possible. but not coming with Krittika. Of course, he was taken care of with Krittika Nakshatra. That's a different thing. All those wives of those ages. So probably he got, that's why he got the name Kartikeya, but nothing to do with his birth nakshatra. Anyway, so far, so that's my last slide here. What we learned, Krittika Nakshatra can be various, going to chef industry or food industries, or maybe artistic ability or nourishment and all those things. Chef maybe not be direct. They should also have a strong Vishaka. I will put that disclaimer. Abandonment issue, separation from family can have happen. Resources, where the moon exiles here. So it can be a good resources and all those connection with Kritika. Agni and Krittika Nakshatra connection, because Agni is the deity of Krittika Nakshatra. And interestingly, moon, which is a planet of water, which is a water element, is exalted here in this nakshatra where Agni is the deity, which is very, astrology is always pair of opposites connecting, and it is through these opposites we may be able to connect or get some big themes. Some keywords here as usual. And of course, doing the research, what happened, I came across this family of Kashyapa, I just thought maybe I'll just share it, nothing to do with Kritika, but these are the sage wives of Mr. Kashyap. He has got, I don't know how many wives, and Sursa, Kadru, Rodhavash, Khas, Danu, Diti, Aditi, Arishta, Muni, Tamara, Surabhi, Ila, Vinata, and each one gave rise to a different species. So Sursa is nothing mother of sea snakes. She is a Sursa. Sursa gave birth to all sea snakes. Kadru gave birth to all Nagas, Takshak, Vasuki, and all those. Krodavash is the mother of 14,000 Nagas and Krodavash Rakshasa again. Yakshas and Rakshasas were given birth by Khasa. Danu is basically for Danavs. Diti gave to Daityas. Aditi gave to all Adityas. Arishta gave birth to Gandharvas. Muni, all Apsaras. Tamara is all for the donkeys, fowls, eagles, vultures, and all. Surabhi to cows and buffaloes. Mother Ila to all plants. And Vinata is the mother to Garuda and Aruna. So, of course, I knew about Vinata, I knew about Kadru, I knew about Diti, Aditi, but this was a nice, through some research, when you do, get things, some nice images. And they said this is a good image to put, to see all the wives of Mr. Kashyap and see what children they produced. And get Kashyap is a very happy person. He's got so many wives. So I don't know. So just, I don't know, why did I put this? And why did it came during Kritika? Again, Kritika Nakshatra, wives, flirtation, maybe probably that. And every time you see this happens with Nakshatra. Whenever we make a Nakshatra video, we see all those themes coming up. And
these are also creators, right? Mothers of the different races. So you're kind of seeing all the mothers of various races also. That's also interesting.
Mother, moon.
Yeah, moon is exalted here after all, yeah.
Yes. I think that's it. Let's see how much we go for today. Counting is going on. So I'm keeping the clock here. Okay, this is something what I was doing my research, but here I will stop. Probably I've talked a lot. Oh my gosh. But that's so far from my side. Yeah.
Go ahead, Dr. Pai. Would you like to add on something which Aditya shared? Go ahead.
Yeah, I think Aditya has done a very good job. That's why we send him first these days, so that he can go and cover most of the ground. So
yeah, again, Dr. Pai, Aditya, A comes for Kritika.
Correct.
So that's why I came. Just it happened. We don't
Exactly.
realize. See?
Yeah, so after Aditya, it is Arjuna. Again, going next. Okay, it's my turn as Krittika again, starting with the first pada. So, okay, so very interesting discussion points. I think he has done, is covered very good ground, but I'll put some more pointers that I have come across. I mean, we have done several videos on Krittika. You can go and watch all others. I don't want to make it a repetition of whatever. Okay, now the first thing I wanted to say, it is very interesting that you, Aditya, also brought this up. Krittika is the star constellation, asterism, where we see moon goes into its deep exaltation. And interestingly, you'll also see that Ashwini is a nakshatra where sun goes into its deep exaltation. And between the sun and the moon, you will see, Ashwini and Krittika, you will find Bharani is always coming in between, which is Yama, the death. So it is all going from one luminary to the other luminary, which means either you go in the path of the sun, which is called as Devayana, or after your death, you go in the path of the moon, which is called as Pitrayana. And that is also the starting point of the Devayana Nakshatras is from Krittika Nakshatra, going up to Vishaka Nakshatra. And then starting from Anuradha Nakshatra, going down to Bharani Nakshatra is called as the Pitrayana, the path of the moon and the path of the sun. So these are the two diverse things. But interestingly, just before you go into Yama Nakshatra, you have to go through the exaltation point of sun, which is kind of like the original source of light, where you get a lot of enlightenment. And the starting point, we always start with the moon. And that is why it's very interesting to see that when we look at the dasha system, the Vimshotri dasha system, you will always start with the Krittika. And you see, wherever the starting point of the dashas are, there are multiple dashas. Parasharishi has also given some conditional dashas also. Now, wherever becomes the starting point of the dasha, you will see that nakshatra will be ruled by the sun. So in Vimshotri dasha, the starting point is Krittika Nakshatra. That is why Krittika is ruled or associated with Vimshotri with Surya, the sun. Surprisingly, moon gets exalted there, and that is how the journey begins. Now, if you go to another system like Ashtotri, Ashtotri will start from the 108 years. Ashtotri will start from Ardra Nakshatra. And Ashtotri system, Ardra is the ruler of Ardra in the planetary system is the Surya, sun. And that is where the system will begin from Ardra. So that's why we have multiple systems, and where the starting point is, system is called as Kritikadi system, which is for your Vimshotri. Ardradi system, where we start from Ardra. So the starting point, wherever we start from, that becomes associated with the sun in that dasha system. So when I brought you the idea of the dasha system starting from a particular nakshatra, it should take you back to the story of Daksha Prajapati. Because Daksha had organized the first grand yagna. And that means they had to invoke the fire into the fire altar. And then we know what is called as Daksha Yagna Badha, which means it was completely ransacked and a chaos was created because Sati eloped into that fire and she self-immolated herself. So, do you know there are 3 types of fire that has been said primordially in the Shastras? One is called as a Garha Patya Agni, okay, which is usually the fire which is brought into the household whenever the marriage happens. After the marriage, when the woman comes, she has to go light the chula. Chula means the fire where the kitchen fire. That is the householder's fire, which cooks our food and makes it nourishing. So it is the house fire which is there in the kitchen, which we say it is Agneya Sthana, which Aditya also mentioned, which is southeast direction. So Agni is the regent or the directional lord of the southeast direction, which is Agneya. That is your kitchen fire, which cooks and makes your fire nourishing. And from there, you move towards the east, from southeast to east, it becomes the fire of what is called as Avayana Agni. Avayana means what fire we are bringing inside the fire altar, or what we are invoking inside the fire altar, and we say that is the mediator between humans and the gods. So that fire is called as Avayana Agni. And then we move towards the south, which means southeast is a fire, is the first fire which is brought inside the house. Then you take it to the east, that fire becomes the fire of your fire altar, where you mediate with the heavens. And the fire which you take to the south is called as Dakshina Agni, which becomes the fire where our body is burnt when we are going to the funeral fire, which means our final, which burns our body and fat and everything, is that fire. So we have three types of fire. So what is that? It's the triangle. So the fire of the southeast, the fire of the east, and the fire of the south. So Dakshina Agni, fire of the south. The fire of the east, Avayana Agni, which we take it into the fire, do our Agni Hotras and everything. And the fire of the south is Dakshina Agni. Okay, so that means if you see the iconography of Agni, he has 3 feet. 3 feet, one feet of his pada is falling in the east, which is the mediator. The 1 feet is falling inside the household where the woman cooks, and the third fire is where we have to burn our bodies. Now, why I brought the whole story of the Daksha Prajapati? We all know there were 2 deities who came and ransacked that with the other Marutas or Rudraganas. The main 2 were Veerabhadra and the other was Mahakali. Okay. Now see the nakshatra order. We start with the Bharani Nakshatra, which is like Mahakali. Then we come to the Krittika Nakshatra, which is kind of Veerabhadra, who is the most terrifying one. And then we have Rohini Nakshatra, which is following, which is Prajapati is Nakshatra, which is Daksha. Daksha means ritual fire. Now the story continues. What happens? He is beheaded. Daksha is beheaded. And then all the gods said, we have one of the progenitors who is Daksha is a progenitor. He's one of the Prajapatis, which means because of when, he has created 60 daughters were given in marriage. One of the 13 daughters, Aditya has shown, who was given to Kashyapa Rishi. 13 daughters. 27 were given to the moon, some to Kardama Rishi and other, so many other. So this is for the progress of humanity. And once his head was cut, it was Shiva, Rudra, who had to come and give him the head of a goat or a ram. That becomes the starting point of our reference. Whether it is Krittika, we said it is connected to the goat. Whether it is Aries sign is connected to the head of the goat, which is the ram's head. That was what is the starting point. So basically, the Daksha Yagna, the first Yagna, the first one, is the starting point from where everything began. Isn't it interesting? So Daksha, is what we said is the ram. That is the mount of Agni. Agni sits on a one-footed goat, which we also know is none other than the deity, which is Aja Ekapada. Aja means the one-footed goat. That is his vehicle, that is his mount. Agni. Very surprising, the iconography of Agni shows 2 heads. 2 heads, one head has 4 tongues, and that head is facing towards the earth. Why? It says he is ready to accept the fire from the 4 vargas or the 4 varnas, which is Kshatriya, 1 tongue. He accepts whatever is being given to him. Second is Brahmana. Third is Shudra. Fourth is Vaishya. So these are the varnas which are called the Chatur Varnas. So 4 tongues are, one of the face is facing towards, so that he is gobbling whatever is being given to him. The other head is looking at the heavens, and it has got 3 tongues, which is distributing it to the Trinity, which is Brahma, Vishnu, and Shiva, and their associates, which means all Indraloka, basically. So that is Rajas, Tamas, and Sattva. The 3 tongues which are giving the energies, which are distributing. So that's why he is the distributor. So you can see the themes in Krittika, these are distributors as well, because they're taking from somewhere, giving it somewhere. Mediators, distributors. Okay. Interestingly, he has 2 heads, but mostly if you see 2-head god, what you will see? They have 4 arms. Can you see 2-headed gods having any other number of hands that they will have? Okay, it's very surprising. If you see, Aditya showed you Shanmuga. He is also called as Subramanya, Kartikeya, Murugan, Guruguha, Swaminathan, different names. But he's called Shanmuga, which means 6-faced. But he has 12 arms. Okay, with 6 faces, but 2 legs, not 3. So Agni is a very unique. He's got 3 legs and 7 arms. Why is he got 7 arms? What does it mean? And that is the reason you have to understand that he is the holder of the weekday Lord. The word for the weekday in Sanskrit is called as Vara. Vara or Dina. Vara, the word Vara comes from the Sanskritized word called as Vasara. Vasa means to reside. Ra means fire. Wherever the fire resides during that day, especially during the sunrise time, whichever is the hora that is operating, that becomes the Vasara. He is going to reside in that. And that is why the hora during the Sunday would be, he is residing in sun. So that's why that day is called Sunday. On Monday, the hora at the beginning when the sunrise happens, he is residing in moon. That's why that day is called as Monday, and so on and so forth. We know that. So Vasara, Ra, the word is for Agni. So Rama, okay. Amun-Ra in Egyptian pantheon deities also is Surya, form of Surya. So a Surya who is equivalent to Surya on the earth after the sunset. So after the sunset, he becomes the Surya of the earth, which is Agni. So there is also a clan, like we said, Suryavamshi. Okay. Then we said Chandravamshi. Suryavamshi means the solar dynasty. Rama was from the Suryavamshi. Then there is also what is called as Chandravamshis, which is from the lunar dynasty. There was one more clan which sprung out from the fire. Some talk about it being the fire of Angirasa. Some also say it is Vashishta. 2 variations you will see. Angirasa is the father of Brahaspati, Jupiter. He was doing a grand sacrifice, and a Purusha who sprung out from the flames which was coming from the Agni, he came out and he said, please instruct me what to do. So he was called as Agni Kula, all Agni Vamsha. There are 4 clans which usually belongs to the Rajputana, Rajputs. They claim that they are the Agni Vamshis. Who are they? Chavan. We know Prithviraj Chavan is one of them. Then there is also Solankis. Okay. Then Pramars. These are all, there are 4 clans which came out of it. And Pratrahar. Okay, Pratrihar and Pramar, then Solankis and Chavans. These were all the Agni Vamshis. The same Agni Vamshis took the religion, and it is believed they spread it across the world. These were and that's why you will see they became part of those Agni worshippers. You can see even in Persia, they became Zoroastrians. Zoroastrians, if you go to the Parsis, they are called as Parsis in India. They have their temples. You go inside the Parsi temple, only Parsis are allowed to go, and you will find a fire, holy fire. They pray to the holy fire inside, which is Agni. So that means they are also kind of a offshoot from these Agni Kula or Agni Vamshis, probably.
There's also
Even
Agni Hotra. Agni, there's a community, Agnihotra community, you know Agnihotra.
Yes,
Yeah.
Agnihotra.
Worshippers of Agni.
Exactly.
Agnihotris,
So
if I'm mistaken.
Agnihotris, exactly. And if
Yeah,
you see Agnihotris, exactly. So that you will see that what is Dayananda Saraswati, you know, was it no Raja Ram Mohan Roy? He started what is that thing? What we say?
Arya Samaj.
Arya Samaj. Now Arya Samaj, you see, they again take fire. Even Arya Samaj marriages, they have that, you know, they take the same things, Arya Samaj. And Agnihotris also, they worship only Surya and Brahaspati, Surya and Agni. So in the morning, when you start your Agnihotra, you say Om Suryaya Swaha, Suryaya Idam Mama, Prajapate Swaha, Prajapate Idam Mama. That is at the sunrise time. At the sunset time, you say Agni Swaha, Agni Idam Mama, Prajapate Swaha, Prajapate Idam Mama. These are 4 lines. Morning 2 lines, evening 2 lines. Worshipping Surya and Prajapati in the morning, and in the evening it is Agni and. Okay. Now, very interesting. Now let's that you have understood. Let us go. There is also, we know Agni has, as Aditya said, he has multiple wives, but some of the 2 prominent wives that is worshipped or his concerts are that we said, one is Swaha. Swaha is whenever you are offering oblations to the devatas in the heavens. So the energy that needs to take that energy to the heavens, we say Swaha into that fire when we are giving, you know. So she is the consort who takes the fire above to the heavens. And then there is another consort which takes the oblations, the waters that we give to our ancestors. She's called a Swadha. Om Swadha Sahita Pitrubhyo Namaha. So we offer the water from this part. Om Swadha Sahita Pitrubhyo Namaha. So we are offering waters which she is taking it to the ancestors. We are offering fire which Swaha is taking it to the heavens. So in one way, you see, Agni is the center force, and he has 2 concerts, one connecting the heavens, Swaha, and the other connecting to the other world of the ancestors. So you can say the ancestral world is connected through our left nostril, like an analogy I'm saying, Ida Nadi, your left nostril. Your right nostril is like Pingala Nadi, which is connecting to the Devatas. And the central force, which is the Sushumna Nadi, the central channel, one is the lunar channel, one is the solar channel, the lunar currents, the solar currents. And the central channel where they both come together and there is spiraling is the Sushumna Nadi, is the central channel, the balancing. Now you see the same energies being transferred from Agni because he is the one who actually brought the fire ball which was emanating from Shiva and Parvati, their union, a ball emerged. So Agni was the first carrier of that fireball from Kailasha or wherever it is to the earth. He brought it with the help of Vayu. So Vayu and Agni. Agni Vayu. That is the energy. Agni and Vayu bringing that fireball to the earth. When it is brought to the earth, it is first given to the mother earth to keep it inside her belly, which means the crux of the earth is still a fireball. So she had kept him inside her womb at the center. And she said, after some time, I can't keep it in. He's too hot for me. So what she does, she deposits that into the Ganga river. Ganga carries that fireball for some time, but she also sees it is becoming, fumes and everything, her gas, it's, melting or it's evaporating the waters. So finally she takes that and she takes it to the reeds. The reeds are the grass which grows on the banks of the river, and she deposits it there. So that reed takes care of it and nourishes the child until the Saptarishis, 6 abundant wives, which are called as the Krittikas, they find this child. As soon as the child, the fireball, sees the 6 mothers, it splits up into 6 children, and the 6 mothers nourish the 6, children. So this whole concept, if you see, it is nothing but the concept of a test tube baby. So if you see the test tube that is there, incubation, the incubator, after if a child is born late or early or something which is not grown, they keep the child in the incubator. The incubator should have a temperature which has to be maintained, just like how Agni was. It should be as conducive, because it has to have the fluids, the umbilical fluids, which is replicating that like Ganga. It should also have the grounding energies of the earth mother, and then it should have like the grass which is there, which is creating that perfect environment. And then it is the nourishing, the feeding of that child. So everything is the modern day test tube baby that we're talking about is the story itself encapsulates. And that is why the child was called as Saravana. Sara, which means grass or reeds that are growing on the banks of the river. Okay, so because he was completely incubated by the waters, the earth, everybody played a role in it, and the 6 mothers which nourished him. So this is the whole story. And when Parvati said, "Is my son," and she tried to hug all the 6 children, it became one body with 6 heads. That is your Shanmuga. Right? So now you know that there is a lot of energies where they can also split up into 6 parts. What is that nuclear? Is it called a nuclear fission reaction, where a certain atom can split itself into 6 parts and it can release energy? Similarly, there is bringing of these atoms together and forming a union, which is called as a fusion, nuclear fusion. They come together. So that means both times they are releasing energy. That energy is the nuclear energy, which is Kartikeya. That is why he has the veil, the spear, which is whenever you see you release something, the energy is going. So coming together also is fire. Separating is also fire. So we have something called as smoldering, and there is welding, isn't it? If you want, metals can also be broken with a torch of fire, and metals can also be joined with the torch of fire. Smoldering, welding, all of these things are Agni. So do you see the analogy that I'm bringing? Also, you see the taste that human has 6 rasas in it. So our tongue, the 7 tongues, he's saying, maybe there are 7 different kinds of taste. There are 7 days of the week. I told you he's Vasara, Vara. So Agni is a primordial energy. And there is also a way of trying to find out. See, Agni can be in 3 planes. That's why he has 3 legs. I told you one of the three legs is the 3 sides of a triangle. That is what Agni stands for, which is the symbol of Mars also. Mars is also sitting on a ram. Everything you see is also called Angaraka, or from Angirasa, Anga. Anga means from the body. So why am I bringing this up again is the 3 planes. What happens is, there is a method in astrology to find out where is Agni. Agni can be in the heavens, on the earth, or in the Patala Loka. So if you're doing a yagna, when Agni is in the Patala Loka or is in the heaven, how is he going to receive and distribute? So the ritual which Aditya had shown, which is called as Ati Ratha, that ritual is called as Agni Stoma. Agni is Krittika, and Soma is Mrigashira. So when they come together, they bring the rainfall. Where is the rainfall? Rohini Nakshatra is the rainfall, which is sitting in the middle. Agni and Soma coming together. Agni and water, which is fire, water, light and water is required for the crops to grow, for the photosynthesis to happen. So what he was talking about, the spectrometry and everything, it is through mantras and through specific chemical reactions, it can create the rain bearing or rain seeding clouds also. So that yagna is from Yajurveda, the mantras, which are, or rather, I think Samaveda or Yajurveda, I don't remember, the Agnistoma Yagna. So these are how as he said, the entire Yagna Shala, which was created, which is made from wood and coconut leaves, coconut tree, branches and leaves are used to make the Yagna Shala. The entire Yagna Shala is burnt after the 12-day ritual or whatever is done, or the 13-day ritual, 12-day, I don't remember, Aditya knows. So the entire thing burns, and what you see is certain rain-bearing clouds are going and seeding the rains, and immediately the rainfall will start coming there. This was the principle of bringing rainfall through artificial means, through yagnas.
It's like Agni bringing Indra.
Exactly. So Indra Agni, which means that is the rainfall. Agni is the Agni is very important, which is in the form of the sun's rays, which evaporates the oceanic waters, which go up and cause the rain-bearing clouds. The huge, big rain-bearing clouds which become dark because they're with so much of water in it. What our ancients saw, oh, all the water is being kidnapped by this big monster who is drinking all the water, which means this evaporating and this rain-bearing. So the rain-bearing cloud was given the name of Vritrasura. And then everybody says, oh, he's taking away Apa. Apa means the goddess of the water. She's being kidnapped by Vritrasura. Then our hero, Indra, comes, throws his thunderbolt, oh, brr, and then the rainfall comes. So he has released Apa from the clutches of Vritrasura. Vritrasura is dead. Why? Because the rain-bearing clouds have been destroyed and Apa is released back. Fresh water is coming to the earth. That's why Indra is called the Lord of the Rain. So Indra rules the fresh waters. Varuna rules the salty waters, which is the oceans, the sea, and everything. Isn't it? Fascinating story, but if you really see, who is Vritra? The huge, big, dark, rain-bearing clouds, which is taking away all the water vapors and creating itself.
You explained the cyclone formation, how it goes.
Exactly. So this is exactly what it is. And then you see a thunderstorm. What is the thunderbolt? Which is a Indra. So what they saw a lightning bolt hitting, and then there is rainfall. Wow, Indra is finally struck Vritrasura and he has released the waters from the heavens. Story. Everything is a codified secret if you really look at it. Isn't it interesting? So come to Kartikeya. Kartikeya, like I said, Agni has Swaha and Swada. One connecting with the afterlife, one connecting with the heavens. Swaha connects to the heavens, Swada connects to the Pitrayana, Devayana. Welcome to Kartikeya. He has two concepts. One comes from the heaven, who's Indra's daughter, called as Devayani or Devasena, because Kartikeya is also called Devasenapati, because he is the commander-in-chief of the godly forces. So he's connecting, Devayani is connecting him to the heavens, and Valli is a creeper, a tribal chief finds her near a creeper. She is born with a mortal. So she is called as Valli. Valli means creeper. So she's accepted and she becomes his consort. So he is connecting force between the heavens and the earth, because through Valli he is connecting to the earth. That's why it's very interesting to see, if you see the right iconography of Kartikeya or Murugan, you will see she is green in color. Valli is green in color, which means she shows the natural vegetation, the greenery, and she's wearing a red sari. And Devayani is red in color because she's got she's wearing a green sari. So look at the contrast. That means they're bringing in. So he becomes the Shushumna Nadi, the central force. Devayani is the Pingala Nadi, and Srivalli is a Ida Nadi. So everything is a yogic thing is going around against Agni, and so these two nakshatras are a connection with Kartikeya, which is Krittika, and Santhip said, Aditya said it is Vaikashi Vikasham. That's the festival. Vishaka Nakshatra. Both these nakshatras are termed in Prashna Marga as Mishra. Okay. Mishra Nakshatra. So here he's showing. Okay. So very interestingly, I'm trying to bring this. Then there is also, you can see another symbology which is associated with Kartikeya is the peacock. Now, very interestingly, you will see amongst the birds, the species of birds. In the bird species, you will find usually the masculine of the bird families can become very ornate. That is why it is the peacock which has the feather, not the peahen. So the peacock, when the rainfall comes, it will start spreading its thing, it's joining, it's dancing, the rainfall is coming. It's like Indra, and he's dancing there with all his feathers. And when the female peahen looks at that, wow, look at that grandeur. And then they want to mate. So that is the mating season. Right? And the peacock has the ability to crush the serpentine energy at his feet. So Rahu and Ketu can be crushed by Kartikeya because he is sitting on that peacock. That's the connection you see. That's why it's called as Subramanya also. And is worshipped as the Lord of the serpents. He is the protective Lord, Subramanya, of the serpents. Okay. So Agni here is like a catalyst. Agni is the catalyst in any chemical reaction that you see, chemistry, we do all those mixing up, some colors will come, that is all the chemical reaction that is happening is the Agni. So also we see there is a form of Agni which is called as Jataragni. So there is Jataragni in Ayurvedic parlance. There are then what is called as a Dhatva Agni. Dhatva Agni means we have Sapta Dhatus, 7 types of Dhatus. Dhatus means what we are made of. We have tendons, ligaments, muscles, bones, and other things. So totally we have Sapta Dhatus. So that Agni resides in them as Dhatva Agni, 7. Then there is Bhuta Agni. What is Bhuta Agni? Panch Mahabhutas. So Agni resides in each of these elements also, which is fire, earth, air, water, and ether. He is there in some sense. That is called as Bhuta Agni. So totally 7 plus 5 plus 1, 13. Jataragni. The Ayurvedic form of that is the digestive fire. And what is the fire that is there in our brain, which is the Vishaka Nakshatra, which is the fire, is the intellectual fire. The brain power, which fires all our cells in the brain and the body, and the metabolic fire which is there. So all of this energies will come in Krittika Nakshatra. Okay. Also, Santhip, about during what is that Makara Vidukku as well. We'll be having in Kerala, Sabrimala. They will see a kind of a flame which is coming from the forest during the Uttarayana, when it begins, Makara Sankranti day, that is when you will see this Makara Vidakku, isn't it?
Yeah.
So that is the bringer of the new light energy towards the northern hemisphere. So again, we know that 6 months, the Devatas, Uttara, they are awake, that is the day for them. 6 months of our human year is night for them. Dakshinayana. So the path of the sun also is a form of Agni called a Vaishwanara. And if you see, Agni comes and he also presents to Nara Narayan, which is Arjuna and Krishna. He presents the chariot, the Gandiva bow, and the story of the Khandva forest and how he burned down the Khandva forest is again a story of, it's a reason why, Nara and Narayana, which is Arjuna is a Nara and Narayan is Vishnu, which is Krishna. They get the celestial weapons with them. So they're not driving on a chariot which is of, human origin. It is celestial origin. the chariot itself. The bow also, the Gandiva is gifted by Agni to him. Okay, so all of this has very many stories that you can see, but I will end and I will add more as we go along. But I wanted to leave that there is a yogic side to this nakshatra also, which is it is the center point, and the other two nakshatras which are falling in the behind it, and you will see Prajapati is the creator, Yama is the one who takes away whatever he is created. And where do we go? We go into fire. So we are born inside water, which is the umbilical fluids of our mother. We come to earth when you are delivered, when the umbilical cord is cut. What is the umbilical cord cutting? It is Krittika Nakshatra. Krittika is the instrument which is used to bring you to this world. So Krittika is a sharp object. You can use a knife, you can use a scissors to cut the umbilical cord so that the water flows out, which is from the Bharani. Bharani is full of water. Apa Bharani, the water flowing out, or the water bursting, which is the mother's umbilical fluids burst, or it is cut. The water flows, Krittika, and then you are birthed. So you come to earth and you breathe air, and finally we go back into fire, which means when our dead bodies are burnt, the ash and the bones are gone and deposited again in the flowing river, so that that body will be found again in water, which means another womb. You go back to water inside the womb. So water, earth, air, fire, again water. So the cycle will continue. That is the whole thing about these nakshatras. Coming from the Ashwini nakshatra is the horse. What is the horse? It's the sperm. The fastest sperm which gets to the egg becomes victorious. Why? What is the reward for the fastest sperm which swims the fastest and goes to the egg? The reward is its head is cut off. The fastest horse which was running towards some goal, the head is cut off, because as soon as the first sperm enters the egg immediately cuts it off, because whatever genetical code information is there in the head of the sperm, the tail was only for moving and going towards, isn't it? All other millions of sperm which were wanting to be the first to get there are all left behind. So that one horse, that is why Ashwini is the horse's head. And what is Bharani? It is the one which cuts your head and takes you in. Once you're taken in, then you fertilize and you multiply. That's Bharani. Bharani is multiplier. Krittika is cutting of the umbilical cord. Then everything comes. Then what is the opposite that you were talking, which is Swati, which is breathing air. Okay, Bharani, opposite of Bharani is Chitra, where your cells are multiplying. Vishwakarma is the creator of the fetus. Starts multiplying till you become a big multi-organism. Anyway, I think I should end that. Santhip, over to you to continue with this journey.
Dr. Pai, that was great actually. I think how you mentioned about it, being a yogic professor and all that is amazing. So Subramanya is basically like, as you mentioned, he's in the middle, and then you have Valli and Devyani on the other side, kind of how the Ida and Pingala Nadi kind of thing. In fact, most of the gods have that kind of depiction. Like you also have Vishnu with the Bhudevi and Sridevi kind of thing. Similar, same concept going on. So Vishnu is in the Sushumna Nadi, Bhudevi and Sridevi are other, as they call it. So it's very interesting actually. Very interesting. Now, for Krittika, first thing, of course, the deity is Agni. So first thing I want to speak about was Agni. Agni is Krittika. So it's very interesting. So of course, I'm a Nakshatra astrologer. So I recently, well, not so recent, but I met one Kerala astrologer, one of these days. This person was asking me, how can you use nakshatras to make prediction and all that? So I was basically telling him, he was not understanding that idea. So I said, look, it's basically look at the idea of the deity, and then you can see that. So one simple example I told him was that if you have a benefic planet in Krittika Nakshatra, at some point in time there was a good fire that happened, or a blessing of a good fire, a good ritual was done, something like that can be said. Or if there is a malefic planet in Krittika Nakshatra, in Kerala there is a tradition, at least, where you light a deepam in the morning and evening. At least there is a tradition. I mean, supposed to be a daily tradition, but nowadays it's like any other tradition having its own problems. But usually you can say that if a malefic plant is there in a Krittika Nakshatra, you can say the fire is not being lit in the home. Simple as that. So that kind of thing. So he was immediately able to understand the concept which I was telling him at that point in time, because now he could click. Okay, it's like now in general Jyotisha you're using similar kind of concept. You can get to the same thing in different ways. So it was very interesting. So this idea of fire, the Agni. So a benefic planet at some point in time, a good fire could have happened. Now, this could mean that at some point in time, a ritual might have been done. Now, why is it that fire is used in many rituals and so forth? That's very interesting. Um, in fact, there are many kinds of fire, which Dr. Pai also explained: the home fire, the death fire, and the fire in the household and so forth. The fire to connect with the gods, which was very interesting. In fact, there is some more additional kinds of fire. Dr. Pai again mentioned the digestive fire. Then I think the fire of the lightning is one of the fire which was also mentioned. There is a different kind of fire depending upon the offerings you are giving to the fire. You also get different kinds of fires actually. So sometimes if you offer honey, so it's like a different kind of fire. If you offer flowers, it becomes a different kind of fires actually. Sometimes you can offer kheer to the fire. Now it's a different kind of fire. So fire is having that kind of quality also in terms of that. So different kind of flowers can offer. So there are many kind of fires like that. So I think there was one. You have this the Hiranya fire, Hiranya Agni as it's called, is basically the Agni which Dr. Pai mentioned, which is like the Agni, the Agni of the fire rituals. And then you have the Trimadu fire, which is very interesting. It becomes Kanagagni, in which you're offering milk, sugar, and honey, the Trimadu kind of thing. If you offer to fire, that fire has that different kind of quality. And then if you mix that with, if you offer to the fire rice and kheer, then it becomes kheer is the Indian dish, sweet dish and all that, made with rice. It becomes Krishna Agni. And then the Padma, in Padma Homa, usually they say if you offer flowers, it becomes like Suvarna and Lohita Agni, which is interesting. And then if you offer sesame seed to the fire, which is normal in Pitru Homas and all that, that becomes Dhumini Agni. So it's the Agni is supposed to be different. And then you have the Manojava Agni. If you're offering any invocations in which gods are coming in, that becomes that. I think Dr. Pai also mentioned Pitru Homa is also different kind of Agni. If you offer wood to the fire, it becomes something called as Karalika Agni and all that. So different Puranas show different kind of Agnis actually. Pure milk is offered to the fire. You can even do that. It becomes Rakta Agni and Bahuruba Agni when you're offering flower again and different kind of thing. And then daily fire which you're using. So this is a very important point. So different kind of fires can carry different kind of properties also. So it was very interesting when Aditya was mentioning in the Adhiratra Homa, the Adhiratra fire ritual, the entire thing eventually, is it possible that there was the cloud seeding properties to that fire, and when that fire goes to the top, when the clouds have been seeded with that particular fire, you're getting rain and all that. So is it a big blessing to that land when they do the Adhiratra Homa? So similarly, different kind of fires can give you different kind of blessings. Now, for some instances, they say that if you want blessing of a desire fulfilling goddess like Ameshwari and all that, quite often they will say that you need to offer one particular kind of flower, 10,000 flowers with this mantra, and then after that, along with ghee, then you get the blessing of that particular Devi and all that. So you want blessing of Vishnu or something, they'll say you have to offer blessing, you have to offer 10,000 lotus flowers to this particular fire and all that. They will say that. So now in some cases, they might say, not you might have to offer food with certain things, and this mantra also needs to be offered along with that, and then you get the blessing of the deity in this particular. So very important thing is that different kind of fire rituals can give you different kind of results. Different kind of offerings to the fire will also give you very specific kind of results also. So that is a very simple idea. Now this is a very interesting idea also. So now the Agni, of course, if you have any plant in Krittika, the takeaway from here is that you should start doing a fire ritual yourself. That's the first starting blunt point about it. Now, nowadays there are a lot of people starting to do many kind of simpler homas, like you have the Agnihotri, which mantra Dr. Pai mentioned in the morning. Agnihotri is the simplest homa that can be done exactly at the moment of sunrise and exactly at the moment of sunset. You are giving three kinds of offerings, which is basically interesting. Again, you offer cow dung, you offer rice, and then you offer ghee. Three things are offered to the. So you chant that particular mantra, the Indraya mantra and the Prajapati mantra, the Agneya mantra and the Prajapati mantra in the morning, sunrise and sunset. People who started doing Agnihotri, a lot of blessings come. Their health has improved. They do not feel any black magic effect. But of course, you have to wake up at sunrise and uh, do at sunset also. That kind of thing is there. You have to have that schedule going on. It's one of the best things. Now, I've seen that usually with Krittika Nakshatra natives, this fire is something that will come very natural to them. So, of course, they are natural cooks. Very naturally, they are inclined towards fire rituals. Now, in fact, talking about fire rituals, the simplest, one of the deities who is Homa Priya is basically Ganesha, actually. It's very interesting to think about that. So, Ganesha is the interesting thing that Ganesha is the elder brother of Kartikeya, and he's also supposedly the best. He likes fires, actually. He loves fires, actually. He's very and he likes fire offerings through fire. So Ganesha is more happy when you give him offerings through fire, actually, which is very interesting. So doing the Ganapati Homa is the simplest Homa which you can do. In fact, I've come across people who even claimed, even to do Ganapati Homa, you just need like a simple jackfruit wood and just offer ghee to it, chant Ganapati mantra, offer ghee and offer one coconut to it also. Ganapati Homa. Simple as that. They said is the simplest Ganapati Homa that can be done and all that. But anyway, key thing is that as long as you offer something to fire, a fire ritual, a lot of blessings do come in a very amazing way, especially with Kritika Nakshatra. I cannot say that enough. And different kinds of Agni, which I mentioned, are also very powerful. And these becomes important when you're trying to attain siddhis or specific mantras and all that. So it becomes very important. Specific kind of flowers can. So now that Aditya has mentioned about the cloud seeding thing, good chance something like that is happening with different kind of flowers, very specific kind of material. When it breaks down and so forth, very specific energies would be coming through that fire and all that. Now, this is also one more concept. When a god or a goddess, it's very interesting. There is a very interesting book on this Homa and all that called as Sacred Flames, actually. I believe it is written by Rohit Arya or Santosh Ma, I forget the name of the author. But in the Sacred Flames book, it was said that even the symbols that we take for granted, like the Om or the swastika, apparently the first time they actually saw those symbols was in a fire, actually. When the rishis were doing the fire ritual, it is in the fire that they could see this Om, the swastika, the Om, many gods and goddesses come forth and all that. It's very, very fascinating. So in the sense that the gods originally were communicated directly through fire. Now, this is very interesting to think about why communicate gods through fire. It's very easy. Gods carry higher energy. They are carrying more energy than us. So only through the medium of a high energy medium like fire, something that's always burning, always energetic. That's why these gods and goddesses are more easily accessible through fires. So it's like talking to like Usain Bolt, who's running always 100-meter space. You cannot even talk to her. The gods are higher energy. So gods are high energy like fiery actually. So that particular aspect. So it makes it easier to communicate to the gods directly through fire. So that makes it much more easier. So when you take high-speed photographies of the fire rituals quite often, and this I've seen multiple times, you can actually see sometimes the correct images of Shiva coming in, or sometimes you might see image of Parvati coming in, and so forth, and all that. Now, this is also a very interesting point. There are, in some cases, you can actually see images of Om, swastika, other kind of things which is taken for granted coming through the fire also. You can actually see the high-speed photography has opened that up very significantly. That's a very, very interesting thing. Now, now fire is also very interesting because there is one concept called temple is that after the aarti, they'll actually burn the camphor and they'll actually offer, that is the final offering almost, and then they bring that fire to the outside to the temple, and then everyone touches the fire and brings that energy from the fire into their aura. Now they say that this one doesn't have any, when you do that, when you touch the fire, there is no ashuddhi to it. It's kind of like, because fire is supposed to be pure actually. This is very interesting. So Krittika Nakshatra natives might have a very strong focus on purity, coming with a pure aspect. And so for everything should be precise, everything should be perfect. That kind of thing can be more very strong for Kritika also. And Agni Shuddhi is also there. So if you touch the fire coming from a temple, or especially coming from a god or goddess, or fire that is in which is offered to a deity, that particular fire is also very powerful in terms of purifying the energy. So in some cases, we might have a altar in your home, but we might not be doing the aarti. We might not be lighting camphor, doing it around the gods. Now, there are two sides to it. One is that it will purify the energy around the idols or the murtis in your home. Second is that you yourself can also get some energy from the fire directly. So, of course, if a malefic planet, if you want to increase energy in your life, improve energy, do the simple aarti in your home. At least do that as a minimal thing. Your life will actually begin to improve significantly. Aarti meaning you just burn camphor, offer it to the idols around your home, and allow that deity to be accessed to the fire because you offer to the image of the deity. So the fire will purify the energy around the idol, and the deity's energy can be accessed through the fire as well, which is very amazing also. Now, the southeast, of course, Aditya also mentioned how the southeast direction is linked with Agni. Agni, as it's called, can be linked with the southeast also. So, of course, the takeaway from that point is definitely look at the southeast direction of your home. Do you have problems in the southeast direction? Is the southeast direction clean in your home? Is it perfect? Are you storing garbage there? So if that is the case, you'll have problems. So definitely you have to make sure the southeast direction is kept easy. Now, southeast direction is also linked with Venus direction, which is very interesting because Agni is linked with Venus. Who would think like that? But definitely, if you think in terms of the masculine virility, masculine sperm and all that, definitely Venus is also Shukra. Agni can also be linked with Shukra also. That kind of thing can also be seen. So the southeast direction needs to be kept clean and so forth in order to invite the energy of wealth, in order to invite the energy of Venus also in general. So that is also one more point. Now, the other point is that, of course, in the world map, the southeast is actually linked right now with Australia, the current cricket world champions, unfortunately. But anyway, then they are the Australia direction, and New Zealand is also linked with southeast direction. So usually in general, you will see with Krittika Nakshatra natives or any dominant Venus natives also, they might be naturally having some karma with Australia and New Zealand and Southeast Asia kind of thing and all that. So for them, visiting Bali could be an important thing for them and so forth. That kind of karma could also play out. So that's a very subtle point, but it's an astrology kind of point which you can make by the link of Kritika with the Southeast direction and so forth. In fact, this is also interesting. They say the Chola Empire of Tamil Nadu was the only empire that actually had an island that empire that extended beyond India to the South Asian lands also. So, and they were hardcore worshippers of Kritika, Kartikeya and all that. So without doubt, you can see that very interesting energy of Agni getting stimulated, and then the Kritika, Kartikeya's energy activating. Agni energy is very strong. So naturally they would go to Southeast direction to conquer and all that. Very interesting to think about. So that's a very interesting, very fascinating point if you link with deities. So certain deities' energies can make you go towards certain directions. That's a very important point. Now, the other point I mentioned about different kinds of Agni also, and now this is also a very interesting thing. So I came across a client who had some graha in Kritika. One of the things they did was that apparently there was a story was shared that they got this Jwala, their ancestor went to this Jwala Mukhi Mata temple. They actually asked the priest to give that fire to that ancestor. Their ancestor carried that fire all the way from Jwalamukhi Mata temple to their ancestral village, and they maintained that fire. So it's similar to what Dr. Pai was saying in terms of Arya Samaji and all that. So this worshipping of fire, but a divine fire that was honored, which has a divine origin. Of course, they say that Jwalamukhi Mata temple is of course, that you only see a fire in that temple. The Mata is in the form of fire is what they say. So that is an interesting thing. But the historical things like that, in which you are getting a fire from a ritual, fire from a divine place, and that fire is being honored. Now, same principle can be activated even in daily aspects also. So say you're doing a Ganapati Homa yourself. Now, of course, this vedicastrology.org website is there. PVR Narasimha Rao is doing a lot of Homa thing and all that. So a lot of easy Homa movement kind of thing is there. Lagu Homa is being popularized by him. So definitely easy. Now you can download Homa manuals. A lot of women are doing it, in fact. Now women is expected to naturally drawn towards Homa and fire rituals because moon is getting exalted in Krittika Nakshatra. So that makes sense also. Now, one thing which I thought was interesting is that can you capture a fire in which a god or goddess has come? So for instance, you do the Havan Kund fire can be captured in a separate diya, and you can actually do that. So the diya which is lit from sometimes in some cases when you're doing specific rituals, many times the fire is actually taken from the home temple. Even when you're doing a Havan in your home, you actually have to take the fire initially from your own puja room in front of your gods, and that fire is used to light the Homa fire actually. Similarly, in many temples and so forth, when you're doing rituals, the fire is actually taken from the divine place there, and then the fire is always brought from the inside, and it's actually taken to the taken to start the cooking and so forth and all that. So some rituals like that is something you can see. So sometimes specific fires also can carry specific blessings. Now in general, they say, even Agni Sakshi is an actual concept in which you make fire as a witness to your meditation and your effort. So Agni Sakshi is a very important concept in marriage. So Agni is the Sakshi around which you are taking 7 rounds with your husband and wife, 3 rounds or 7 rounds depending upon region and traditions. And then Agni is the witness to the marriage. So, and then gods and goddesses are witness to the marriage. Now, this is very interesting. Many times, question is asked, why should we marry? Why not do a court marriage first and then have a normal marriage? But anytime you're doing a ritual of marriage, you are making gods as witness to your marriage through the fire. And that will bring in blessings of that, gods and goddesses. Only when the ritualistic blessings have come forth, then you're doing the court marriage. Now, court marriage is a human affair, so that is not carrying any blessings with it. But when you do a fire ritual and so forth, a ritual around fire, the blessings, the Agni is the Sakshi to your marriage. That will give additional protection, additional energy, and additional blessings to your marriage also. So that kind of a thing is also very important. Some cases they might have situations where they are unable to that complications around this thing and all that can also happen. Ideally, sometimes they are like they are marrying without the presence of fire, things like that. That kind of thing can also be predicted here actually. Now, as I mentioned, the fire that is carried from one particular temple or from one particular location to another. Now, Agni Sakshi is also a very important concept. They always recommend whenever you're doing any meditation practice, any mantra chanting, always light a diya and do the mantra chanting. They always recommend that, or at least have a diya lit in general, or at least minimum thing, at least have an incense burning so that that Agni of that incense is at least witnessing your mantras what they recommend. So in fact, one of the things they say, Agni not only gives you light, it also energizes you, it also actually protects you also. So that fire, that incense fire is capable of protecting your mantras much more easily. So without doubt, when you're doing mantras in the presence of Agni, without the presence of Agni, you will see a big difference. That is a big thing, I can say. Now, in fact, when you're doing fire, when you're inviting the gods and goddesses through fire rituals, even just when you're doing puja for a god or goddess, or Devi or someone, the lamp will, different kind of devatas will show up as different kind of color for the flame and so forth, which is some of the things which I mentioned. So you're inviting a more Saumya Devata, the fire is very Saumya, completely fine, very peaceful fire in the lamp and all that, you see that. But when you're inviting some Ugra Devata, like very fierce deity, like Tara or goddess Kali and all that, you'll see that fire is also becoming very active, very violent kind of thing. You might see that. The simple lamp fire is actually behaving like that. You might see that. The fire's color might change and all that is very normal when you begin to see this kind of gods and goddesses and so forth. That's a very powerful thing also. Now fire, of course, this is the other aspect of fire, the aspect of holy fire and so forth. So even in Olympics also you find they carry the flame of the Olympic torch is still maintained and so forth. So you can see this fire being important for the starting point of Olympics in a ritualistic fashion. So even the 4 years of Olympics, the fire is traveling from one country to another country, it is still being maintained. So the fire is a very important concept in actual human thing. In fact, in one of these yogis books, he himself, his guru was actually explained to this yogi about, I think it's in his Shriyam's book itself. like how his guru was kind of showing. The guru chanted some mantras to the fire became like 6 feet tall or something, 10 feet tall or something. And then eventually kind of showing how this fire is a living kind of entity actually. So it's a very powerful thing. If you actually have a fire, so usually this is always recommended when you're doing any kind of spiritual practice, whether it's mantra chanting, yoga also, doing it in the presence of fire will always enhance it 100-fold because of that. And it's simple as that. Even the simplest meditation, if you do the simplest presence of fire, extremely powerful results you'll get. Now, fire, of course, we talked about a lot of spiritual matters now. Now, there are a couple more interesting things about fire I want to talk. One is that there is one of the things I usually encourage for natives with planets in fire signs or Krittika Nakshatra or Vishaka Nakshatra is a simple act called as Vasana Daha Tantra. So Vasana Daha Tantra is this was originally coined by this HimalayanAcademy.com website guru, Sadguru, original guru was Sadguru Shivaya Subramanya Swami, hardcore Orthodox Shaivite Sampradaya. So in this particular website, this particular guru was recommending this Vasanada Tantra, in which you would write down your memories on piece of paper, and then you would just basically burn that paper immediately. So the moment when one paper is, you finish writing that, one paper is complete, that paper is over, you burn that paper immediately, and then continue writing, burn the next paper immediately, and so forth. So whatever is on your mind, you're passing it on to the fire, and then you're burning that paper to purify that energy. Now, something happens when this happens, when you do this particular ritual. All that emotional load which you carry is actually transferred to the paper and it is getting purified by fire. Whoever did this, especially the female clients who I recommended that, everyone experienced a lot of blessings, a lot of clarity with their emotions when they did that. I cannot say this enough. Now, in fact, the guru went on to say you can do the Vasana Tantra in very specific ways. You can have a chronicle kind of Vasana Tantra in which you write down all your memories from each year by year and so forth. So first you chronicle all the memories. You write down your memories from year one, first when you're 2 years old, what happened, 5 years old, what happened, and so forth. You go through that until your adult years, whatever memories you have. You keep on writing, keep on burning, and so forth. The next stage of writing is what they say was to actually write about all your memories regarding every person whom you ever remember. So one thing is that you write down your memories, whatever energetic interaction is there, you actually remove that emotional vasanas component from it when you burn that paper, when you have written them down. So that's the second phase in which you are writing it by the people whoever you write them down and you burn that up. Third thing he recommended was to, depending upon the intensity of the experience you have. So sometimes you might have still that memory of like this was very close close encounter with death experience, or this was the biggest blissful experience in meditation I had. Or sometimes here also, this is where also that guru says, if you still have any porn stars still running in your mind, if you still remember that porn movies and all that which you watched, if you still remember your highest sexual experience and all that which you have, write them down and burn that up also at this point. Now, something happens when you do this thing. All your mental moon energy is actually transferred to the paper, which is Mercury, and you're burning it up, which is purification is happening through sun and so forth actually. So it's a very powerful ritual. Vasana Tantra is a very, very powerful thing. In fact, the same guru whom I mentioned, he has this big Hindu monastery in Kauai Island in Hawaii and all that. He said that this is a very interesting point. So usually when you do homa, usually one of the things which the priest would ask is that write down the name and nakshatras of everyone who is present here. And in the end, then the priest would put that paper into the fire. So he's like, so basically the idea is that whoever is present here should get blessings. But to be more specific with the blessings, you write down the name and nakshatra. The helpers of that particular god will get those names and nakshatra from the divine loka, and then they will actually start to be more precise with how they can help and all that. Now, in fact, this particular guru was also the opinion, if you're doing a particular havan, every day you're doing a Ganapati Homa, for instance, or every day you're doing a Agnihotra, for instance, you can write down whatever your prayers are. Oh God, give me this, give me that. Oh God, help me with this. Oh God, help me attain moksha. Whatever be the prayer you have, offer it to the fire. Now, say you're having a legal thing. So you are in a human situation. I have this particular thing. My contract with this company is having this particular clause is having a problem. even take a photostat of that contract and offer it to the fire is what this particular guru was telling. Be more precise with regard to your prayers, be more precise with regard to what you're informing the gods and so forth, which was very, very interesting idea. So very simple idea from practical sense. If you have any prayers, always have that, try to offer those prayers through the medium of fire in front of a deity. You might see some amazing results when you do that. It's a very, very powerful thing. Of course, in this particular guru's ashram in Kauai Island, there is apparently they noticed one thing. There is a big Nataraja statue there, and there is a fire, like a fire that is always kept burning there actually, Akhand kind of diya going kind of thing there. Now they observed that whenever they wrote down a prayer and offered it to that fire, their prayers got quickly answered. So a lot of requests came to that particular temple. With world over, people are sending their prayers to that particular temple, so they could be offered to that fire, and that prayer would get answered. Because of course it's in a Shiva temple and all that and so forth. So very interesting observation. This has a lot of practical thing to it. You can also do it wherever you're at. If you have a deepam in your home and all that, if you are lighting a diya in your home, you can easily burn that paper in front of the deity after you chant a lot of mantras. You can see your prayers getting answered a lot. Now, this is also a very interesting thing, because when you look at Chinese occult systems and so forth, many of the systems in Chinese thing is that you draw like a symbol, you draw like a thing, and you have to burn that actually. You have to burn that thing. So to remove the ghost, you have to burn some charms and all that on paper. That is how Chinese thing works. In fact, even in Chinese thing, if you have to offer ancestral money, you can get a picture of the ancestral money and all that, and you burn that thing. You want your ancestors to get TV, fridge, car, plane, and all that. You take pictures of this and you burn it into the fire. And your ancestors in the ancestral world apparently gets it actually. Very pure thing going on. Very pure mechanism thing going on. Now, so the occult value of fire is very, very big, and I cannot say that enough. Now, there are many ways to activate fires also. Like I said, many times I've seen people would burn a specific symbol to that fire for 30 days and so forth. Then they get that fire in a very particular quality and so forth. And that sometimes getting when you have burned something, burn a charm for 30 days, and then 30th day, at the 30th day, you might get a very specific quality from that fire, and it could have its own energetic blessings without doubt. So that's a very interesting thing with fire. Now Murugan is a very interesting figure, but here again I mentioned the Chinese thing and all that. So what is interesting here with the Krittika Nakshatra is also like this whole concept of the god of war actually. So these Nakshatra natives are quick to quick to fight. That's a very easy thing you can say. It's the god of war after all. It's the final Nakshatra Pada of Aries after all. So definitely they're quick to argue, quick to be willing to go to battle and all that. That kind of energy is there. Now, god of war is a very interesting concept also. Definitely. So these Nakshatra natives might have experience with war. They are more prone to like becoming soldiers in the US and so forth and all that. They might have had their own Afghanistan experience, Iraq experience, stuff like that. That kind of thing can also be happening. Or at some point in time, a war could have affected their family history. Some kind of karma with war can be seen there. The god of war, Kartikeya, is the god of war. And that's a very, very interesting concept also. Because many times you find there are certain temples, even in China and all that, you might find temples where a warrior energy is actually honored. So that is where you see. Now, interestingly, you find the Kartikeya's weapon is the spear or the veil. So veil, of course, is the spear actually. So many times, in fact, in Chinese martial arts, spear is considered to be a more strongest weapon even than the sword actually. So because it's very, you can be quick with your actions, and you can give you quick results and so forth. Now, usually these natives will be drawn to the art of martial arts and all that. That's a very normal thing. And they might be drawn to the art of Kalaripayat martial arts, Tai Chi, all the Xingyi, Chuan, all that particular martial arts. Various martial arts can easily come for them. That is also one of the other aspects with God of War, with Krittika. Now, the Murugan's veil is an actual thing. You can actually get Murugan's veil blessed from Murugan temple. You can carry a small veil with you as protection. That's a very easy thing. It's a practical South Indian thing which many people do. You can always get a small Murugan's veil, get it blessed from a temple, carry it. Of course, you can also donate a Murugan's veil to a temple to help you get some blessings. I remember someone had shared with me that they got a dream where one ancestor was going through a health crisis. The other older ancestor came in their dream and advised them to basically donate one whale to a Murugan temple. When they did that, the other ancestor was able to come out of ICU and all that. So makes perfect sense actually. So you never know. Sometimes offering a weapon to a deity can help you out a lot, especially for Murugan. Donating a whale to a Murugan temple can be very good. Now, need not be just Murugan. You can also donate other kind of weapons to gods also. So you might have Goddess Kali temple. You can always donate a sword. You can donate a sword talwar to a Mata temple. You can donate a Trishul to a Bhairav temple. You can even donate like a sword to like any of the other gods and a Gada to Hanuman temple. That kind of thing can also be done. So need not be that in some cases you can donate the actual weapon. In some cases you just need to donate a image of the weapon, a small miniature version of the weapon also. But donating the actual weapon is always good. Now, interestingly, donating the actual weapon, if you donated a sword to a deity, say you are donating a sword to a Kali temple, every year you have to maintain that sword. The sharpness of the sword is to be maintained. So you have to go to the blacksmith, like blacksmith kind of karma has to be playing out. So that is also one of the things. If you're donating the sword, make sure the sword which you donated is being annually maintained, especially if it's an actual sword and all. It is a typical thing. Before in Kerala and all that, before festivals happen, it's a ritual where the blacksmiths are invited. They take the sword and they give back the swords eventually, which they worked upon and all that. And that sword is basically used by the goddess. And in fact, the blacksmiths at that point in time will also look at the betel leaf and make predictions based on that also, based on what they see in the betel leaf. That kind of thing also happens. It's a very unique thing. But yeah, that kind of thing happens. But this karma with weapons, which Aditya also mentioned, the karma with knife, the karma with blade is an actual thing for them. So they might get hurt by weapons. They're using a knife, then they're suddenly hitting their hands. That kind of thing can sometimes happen. Sometimes, however, you can also use this in a spiritual setting, in a spiritual way. The easiest way to do that, of course, if you have a murti in your home, you can always get a Murugan's veil and keep it in your home, as I mentioned. Now, some people in different traditions and all that, they will actually get swords and talwars and all that and keep it in their home. I know some people who do that. But you can also do a simpler thing, which I've seen that works with that. You can get this steel called as Damascus steel. It's like a very unique, powerful spiritual steel. And it's carrying more spiritual energy to it. Hold it in your right hand and meditate. Meditate upon any goddess Kali or any Mata kind of thing, like a Durga or someone. Hold it in your right hand, meditate or chant some simple Durga mantras. Face the east direction is what they recommend when you do that. And then hold it in your right hand, pray the Durga mantra and meditate so that the energy is stored in that dagger, and then you can just keep it in your spiritual altar like that. That's an easy way to activate some good spiritual weapons energy in your chart, that kind of thing. Now, what is interesting is that you find many of the shamans will naturally be using the spiritual knife. They'll good chance they are already using a spiritual dagger. Now, definitely, Krittika Nakshatra is the nakshatra where this is also one of those shamanic nakshatra, just like Barney and all that, where they are more likely to do spiritual practices, more likely to do heavier mantras and all that. Now, Krittika is also the Agni is having 7 tongues. So these nakshatra natives are gifted with mantra chanting. In fact, this was one of those interesting things which long ago a friend of mine did some research on exorcists, actually, people who exorcise as demons and ghosts. So usually, apparently, exorcist people apparently had a prominent Kritika. So some Christian monk or someone who actually exorcised ghosts or someone, he apparently had a prominent Kritika. So if you're exercising, this can be an actual karma for them. They might go into some home, they are doing some prayers and so forth, and they might actually have to banish the ghosts away. That kind of thing could happen. Now, sometimes you feel, relatives who are very vocal, that they start talking, they are not going to stop. Sometimes you can meet those kind of people. So, no ghost is going to survive in those homes also, because they are always constantly talking. No ghost is going to be patient. That kind of thing can also be seen. But this banishing karma is also one more thing that can happen very strongly with Kritika. Now, the other thing, so this mantra chanting karma is very strong with Kritika. So there are certain nakshatras where I encourage to do mantras. Definitely Magha Nakshatra or Puraphalika Nakshatra. Kritika Nakshatra is a very big nakshatra. If I see any planet there, I encourage them to do any kind of mantra. They are gifted in mantra chanting. Pushya Nakshatra. These nakshatras, if they start doing mantras, a lot of blessings come to them very easily. They are gifted in mantra chanting. They can be very precise in their intonations and so forth. And definitely they are also very creative. They can definitely have a lot of creation aspect also in their aspect. So a lot of creative people, a lot of singers will have Kritika, a lot of artists will have Kritika. In fact, I remember in Dr. Pai had taught about, I think the example he shared was that of Catherine Hepburn or someone. Catherine Hepburn, there was one female actress who had prominent Kritika. Most of the times, most of the actors will have prominent Kritika. That is one thing that can also happen. Now, one thing I want to talk also was that of the yeah, this God of War is very interesting because there is a video game called as God of War. It became a huge franchise. The God of War, apparently, there is the character Kratos. He ends up going to kill Zeus and Olympians and all that. So he goes on, extinguishes all the thing, and became a huge franchise. Now they ran out of the Greek gods. Now they having a Norse god thing. So now Kratos is trying to kill Odin and all that is what is happening in the God of War part 7 or 6 or something like that. But anyway, you see this kind of war aspect very strongly there, and it became a huge hit, and this guy would always scream, and the character would always scream. He was smeared with red color and all that. You can see very kind of weapons and so forth very easily. So natives are naturally drawn to playing more violent video games, which is a not so great, good, healthy habit if you are conscious of that. Because sometimes if you play violent video games, you're having problems in your life, good chance both are linked. So when you start playing more peaceful video games, you might see things improving also. Something like that. I had someone like that actually. Or they bought a PS5 and they started playing a great PS5 and all that. They started some Call of Duty kind of game in which they're shooting at people. And then the next day they are in the traffic jam. They are having someone banging at their they played GTA 5 or something, and now GTA is getting released now. So GTA 5 or something, where you basically go and bang the car in the video game. Next day in the traffic jam, someone honked at them or something, and then someone comes and starts beating at their car because of that. So that's GTA 5. Well, you have to be conscious. You're playing whatever you're giving energy to, you'll end up getting it back. Something to be mindful of actually. Now, so the vowels are linked with Kritika, which is very interesting. So Dr. Pai mentioned Aditya's name is R sound and so forth. So usually these nakshatra natives can have karma with vowels actually, or people whose name is beginning with vowels, or energies, or their creations can be favorable or unfavorable to them if they are beginning with vowels, depending upon the graha that is placed in there. So if you have Jupiter in Kritika, you might see if you create something with vowels there in that creation, you are more likely to get success. If you have Saturn in Kritika, you create something with vowels there, more likely to have delays and obstacles, unless that Saturn is mature and all that and so forth. Something to be mindful about. That's a very simple thing, very simple formula to look into. The other thing which I thought was very interesting was that the water aspect. So how Dr. Pai mentioned about the water being involved with Agni Soma and all that. But in Kritika, one simple thing you see with many full moon rituals is that one time it is also recommended sometimes to store the water of the full moon in your home. So waters of a particular full moon, you can capture that water in a jar or something and you keep it in your home. That water is going to bring the nourishing energy throughout your, as long as that water is there in your home. So usually people keep Ganga Jal and all that in the home, but you can also do the same thing with waters of a particular full moon and all that. That can also help in inviting some energies, good energies and all that into your home. So that is also one more thing. Now, sometimes mantra charged water can also be kept in the home. You chant a lot of mantras to your water, like Om Namah Shivaya chant 108 times. That particular water, you can just store it in a home temple or something. You'll see amazing things happen and all that. You do Om Namah Shivaya like 108 times, 40 days, that particular water you capture, keep it in your home, you can see amazing things happen. Things like that. So capturing the water-based rituals where you're actually storing the water, chanting mantras to a water, keeping it in your home, all that is very powerful. That is also one more thing I would encourage. Now, with water also one unique thing which I've been researching into these days, that there is a lot of things going into all this alkaline water and hydrogen water and all that. So apparently there's a big thing going on, big trend going on nowadays with many people drinking hydrogen water to improve their health and so forth. So you basically buy a hydrogen machine and you basically hydrogenate the water, and the hydrogenated water is what you actually drink. Supposedly it is improving a lot of people's health. Something worth you exploring. Now again, I'm not a doctor, not giving medical advice, something to look into on that front. So hydrogenated water is something I've seen a lot of people are experiencing a lot of positive results from that. Even with alkaline water. So there is one interesting machine I thought it's called a Kangen, Kangen. Basically, they make that water more alkaline. Now, again, this is not a full-on solution, something to worth exploring into. Sometimes when you have malefics in Krittika Nakshatra, the water you're drinking is having a problem. You're drinking more tap water. Sometimes the tap water need not be always good for you. Maybe you might have to invest in mineral water. Investing money into that good mineral water might actually be good, be giving you good health and all that is worthwhile, especially if you're having health problems and so forth, something worthy of considering. So many times they recommend to drink all this water from Lourdes and all that in Europe and all that, which is considered to be a good thing. Now, a different thing which I see here um, with Kritika, yeah, of course, Dr. Pai mentioned in how Shabrimala, then Magaravalka happens, in which the lamb, there is a big flash of light that happens on Magaravalka day, which is basically the day when sun enters into Capricorn sign. You see that in Shabrimala. In Arunachal and all that, basically there is a ritual in which Arunachala is the fire lingam, which is very interesting, considering Kartikeya is the god of war and linked with fire and all that. So he's Agni Swarup and all that. So definitely in Arunachala, one of the big rituals, what happens that I think it's in Kartik Purnima, if I'm not mistaken, they actually take they have a chariot, they carry it all the way from Arunachala temple to the top of the Arunachala mountain, and they light it there at the top, which is something a lot of people, it's a huge thing there and all that. That fire from the Arunachala hill top is a very, very powerful ritual, that kind of thing. Powerful event also there in that particular region and so forth. Very having its own energetic significance without a doubt. In fact, Kartikeya is also supposedly Kartikeya is linked with this god Ramana Maharshi. Ramana Maharshi supposedly, Ramana Maharshi, not god actually. Maharshi Ramana was supposed to be an incarnation of Kartikeya, which is interesting. Now, he was always around Arunachala hill and all that, which was very interesting to think about also. One of the interesting stories about Ramana Maharshi was that how one devotee came to him and suddenly said, look, now usually he would avoid coffee or something like that. He would not drink coffee in his ashram or something, some story like that was going on. And then apparently one day, one devotee came in and said, one lady came in and gave him like this big coffee thing, coffee powder, and said, look, Rishi, I had a dream. This beautiful lady came into my dream and told me, my son is not drinking coffee. Could you please make him give this coffee powder which you have in your home to this particular Rishi? And then, then she said, I immediately knew this was goddess Parvati. That's what this particular, the devotee said. And the devotee told this to Ramana Maharshi. Ramana Maharshi, yeah, my mother, she always tries to make me drink, just like any mother doing. Any mother, they'll actually make their sons or daughters drink and food and all that, something similar. Usually that kind of karma, the karma where a mother giving you food, a karma around a mother becoming a mother making you drink milk, or mother making you drink tea or coffee or something like that. or even simple juice or whatnot, right? Things like that. That kind of thing can also be linked there. Very interesting story, but makes perfect sense, in that regard. Now, the other final bits, now moon is exalted here in Taurus and in Kritika. Without a doubt, you can claim that there is a hidden blessing from a goddess in this particular nakshatra. Without a doubt, you can claim that. Moon is exalted. Moon is actually linked with goddess energies, actually. So that is also one of the things that can be linked. Moon is actually linked with a motherly goddess energy. That is very important also. So there is a hidden blessing from Parvati Mata or Gauri from in this particular placement. Hidden blessing is there. So when they approach any goddesses, when they approach any female goddesses, mother goddesses especially, they'll get quick results. In fact, the best set of goddesses for that is the Saptamatrakas and the Ashtamatrakas actually. Very easily, you can see that. So Ashtamatrakas and so forth, when you go to the temples, the Ashtamatrakas, then you will see a lot of blessings come for them very easily. In fact, in Kerala, where I'm from, they have separate system of Padri for certain temples called as Rudujit Vidhanam, in which the Saptamatrakas are always present with the goddess, and so or considered to be more strong, more fierce and more stronger particular temples, wherever there are the Ashtamatrakas. Now that I think it's Kritika, Kartika and all that makes perfect sense also, why this particular system or sampradaya is in place. But the going to mother goddesses, were connecting with female gods and female goddesses, connecting with feminine aspects of the divine, they are more likely to get a lot of blessing. And without doubt, there's a blessing here. Now, of course, if you have a good planet there, you're getting a blessing. If you have a bad planet there, there's a karma there. So then you'll have to work through that karma to get that blessing. That's also one more important thing. Now, the final point, which a couple more points I want to make. One point was that of, so this Shakti which we see, which we described in terms of, I described certain fire carrying specific Shaktis and so forth in terms of the gods and goddesses, which certain fires are attracting. There's also one more concept in Chinese Qigong and all that, in which you have the Qi, which is the initial thing. Qi is eventually converted to Jing, and then Jing is eventually converted to Shen, as it's called. Now, supposedly to see Shen, you would actually see the Shen in someone's eyes. Now, Qi is the virility. Qi is basically like the energy, the prana energy which you have, but the Shen is already seen in the person's eyes. So it makes you think. So a lot of rishis and all that, when you look at their eyes, you know they carry a lot of energy and so forth. You know that. So a lot of people are doing spiritual practices. In their eyes, their Shakti becomes very visible. That is also one other thing you can see. So the Shen has a quality, and that is definitely coming through the eyes, which is the second house of the natural zodiac, where moon is getting exalted and so forth. So the Shakti, so many times you can get the initiation through even through eyes also. Certain gurus can also look at you and actually give the initiation. That kind of thing can also be seen. So that is also the other aspect. So which is very, very interesting from that perspective. So the eyesight, sometimes drishti, the good drishti, bad drishti kind of thing is there. Sometimes the good drishti kind of aspects can also be seen from here also, from this placement. Now, this is the final point I want to make, which is a very interesting point. Kritika's word moon is getting exalted, Pleiades is here, a lot of good stuff is here. Okay, there is also one more point here actually. Kritika is, now if you look at the Puranas, you have the Shiva Purana, Ganesh Purana and all that. The Skanda Purana is the biggest of them all. There are 20 volumes in Skanda Purana, which is very interesting. Now, Skanda Purana is actually a big deal actually. Skanda Purana, now Taurus is the natural second house of the zodiac, which is the linked, in my opinion, linked with the Puranas. So Purana is also history. The history, second house is family. Your family history is also second house. What kind of family you come in, what is the history of the family, you can identify from the second house. Similarly with Puranas, the history of the world can be seen through the Krittika Nakshatra and Taurus as a Rashi as well. Moon is getting exalted here after all. So you can see the, usually one of the remedies is to actually read the Puranas actually. So reading the Shiva Purana, reading the Ganesh Purana, depending upon the Graha there, you can read the corresponding Purana. Vishnu Purana, Malsya Purana, Ketu in Taurus and all that. Ketu in Kritika, Skanda Purana, or any kind of planet in Kritika, reading the Skanda Purana. It might be beneficial for you. Reading that and following that and understanding and contemplating on those stories can be very, very powerful. Now for the final point, Krittika Nakshatra is also famously the Algol star. Supposed to be if there is any star out there which everyone in Arabian thing and all that, they say it bluntly, that is the worst star. The star is worst, they will create problems, people will die, all that kind of horror stories being mentioned. You see all this poisonous story being mentioned with Algol star. Now, interestingly, Algol is also the famously supposed to be the origin point for the name alcohol also. So supposedly alcohol, the alcohol which you drink is carrying this Algol star's energy. That is at least the name thing, name linkage between the alcohol and the alcohol shows that. Now, Algol star, one of the things they say is that it create poisons. It is equivalent to like in Greek mythology, supposedly Medusa's head. The head whose stairs would always create problems. Everyone would be turned into stone. That Medusa's head was actually held in Algol star. Now, Algol star is closer to, it's not exactly Alcyone and all that, but it's close, it's in that same vicinity, that same part of the sky. So that's the same part of the sky where you see Perseus holding the, I think it's Perseus was the name. I believe it's Perseus. He's holding Medusa's head, which is the Algol star actually. So supposedly a lot of poisonous energy is coming from that Algol star, which is carrying Medusa's head and so forth is one of the stories. Now, therefore, usually these natives, if there is malefics here, definitely they can have alcohol drinking problems and all that. Alcohol problems, drug problems and all that, they might have to watch out for it. Now, the negative thing. Now, usually the problem here is also with the alcohol. Now, supposedly one interesting thing is that usually meditating upon many nakshatras are recommended in terms of getting that nakshatra energy. However, if you end up meditating on Algol star, you might be getting problematic nakshatra energies also. And so forth. So just be cautious on that front. Very important. The other thing is that famously they said that if Algol is the problem, the solution is the Perseus star. So the Perseus constellation, which is close to Algol, is something you can meditate upon to improve the energy. That is also one more interesting thing there actually. Now, so instead of meditating upon the Algol star, they recommend to meditate upon the constellation of Perseus, which might be beneficial. Now, this is a important point also. Let's see. So,
Wait, you discuss this Algol star. I just wanted to show this.
Yeah, good. Yeah.
So this is Pleiades, Krittika.
Yeah.
This is Rohini, Aldebaran.
Right.
So Algol is somewhere here. So
Right.
very close to basically Bharni and Krittika, of course. Krittika is here, this may be Bharni. So close to Bharni. And I was thinking about this point of Algol yesterday, and it was
Right.
like, so yeah, it's around this region.
It's around that region. Yeah, exactly correct. So what they say is that not to meditate upon the Algol star, which is actually linked with the origin of alcohol, but meditate upon Perseus star. So somewhere in between, actually, the stars in between, which is supposedly very good, actually. Apparently, that can prevent your alcohol drinking tendencies and all that. Apparently, that's what they claim also. They claim also something worthwhile looking into. But alcohol, of course.
Yeah, this
yeah?
looks like an Aries, Bharni. So Bharni will be somewhere here, and then
Yeah.
Krittika is here. So yeah, Ashwini, Bharni, and then Krittika.
Interesting.
So it looks like more like alcohol is going towards Bharni part, in fact.
Interesting. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I think it
But
was
yeah, close to that region. Yeah.
right. So that's one thing.
Cutting
so,
the
course,
head. Cutting the head and the themes.
Exactly. Yeah. So yeah, of course, Medusa's head had to be cut and all that. That's the thing there. So that is also one more thing. Alcohol is supposedly not the best thing. You see that in most of the astrology, but supposedly it's this is also one more thing actually. So sometimes they recommend if you're going for a first date and all that, definitely don't go to a bar where they're serving alcohol. Not a good thing. Best to go to a coffee shop or somewhere where you can have some good food. Even if you're going to a restaurant, try to go to a place where there is no alcohol around or something is what they say actually. At least the food is not having any alcohol thing around. Well, hard to see how it might be true. Used to be that the first dates would happen around temples and all that in India. That's what would at least happen. At least the families would meet in temples before they would decide things and so forth. But anyway, something to think about that. Now this is what I have to share, Dr. Pai and Aditya, on Krittika. Yeah. Go ahead, Dr. Pai.
Oh, sorry. No, I think it was a very, very interesting topic that you had brought in on many aspects as well on Krittika. So I think all the audiences are going to really like this part. You also mentioned about Algol. Yes, I remember when I was studying about Western fixed star systems also. In the Western system, they consider Algol to be connected to beheading. Many of the beheadings that happened in the English, the kings and the queens, many of them used to be beheaded. So, Algol was dreaded to have connection with that. So interesting that this is also, as Aditya was saying, it falls somewhere very close to Bharani Nakshatra. And then we can also see how Ganapati also lost his head. We also know Vishnu also, in one instance, where the string of his bow cut off his head, and then a horse's head, which is Hayagriva. So there are so many stories of losing head. We are also talking about Daksha Prajapati losing his head and then getting a lot of these themes can be connected to the sharp object, which is, so that is all very interesting that we have brought these things up. So yeah, Aditya, Santhip, any other final comments before we wrap up today's discussion?
Yes, I was just looking. When he said about Algol, Jeffrey Dahmer. I don't know if anyone knows Jeffrey Dahmer.
The Netflix show, right?
It's not Netflix show. He's the
the actual guy, the actual murderer.
Guy, yeah.
Oh yeah,
guy,
okay.
Murderer, yeah, he was
Right.
a murderer, and how he used to kill people, and
Yeah.
I don't know whether he used to eat also.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah, he eats actually. Yeah.
So this Jeffrey Dahmer was 21st May 1960 born. 21st May. I was just looking his birthday. 21st May is again Sun.
Oh, yeah.
Checking his chart, Sun and Venus both in Krittika.
Okay.
And you can see, I'm not saying that
Right.
the Krittika will be like that, but just an example came in my mind. So that's one example of alcohol star. I know. Read about him if anyone wants to know what he used to do and all, and kill all people, bring boys from the bar, and he used to have sex with them and then kill them and chop their head and preserve it, and I don't know what all he used to do. And not one or two, many, several. So
Yeah.
that whole, I think, I don't know whether there's a documentary, but yeah, 2 planets in Krittika. The other thing is, yeah, Dr. Pai, you also mentioned that it's interesting how today we are discussing about this nakshatra, and tomorrow is the winter solstice. From tomorrow onwards, the light is coming back to the northern hemisphere. That will start. The Uttarayana will start. The actual Uttarayana, just in less than 24 hours from today. Again, the concept of Kritika, the light, Devayana, Pitrayana, and all those. So I think it was supposed to meant to be done today, maybe, and that's how it works. Okay, so that was another one good thing. That's it. I just wanted to share those. Yeah, feel free if you have any.
Yeah, no, we are also talking after Skanda Shashti also. Skanda Shashti is interesting, just happened recently, like a couple of days ago, something like that. So we are talking, we ended up talking Kritika. We need Skanda's blessing to get this over, so that's also potentially possible, yeah.
The other thing which Dr. Pai mentioned was fusion and fission when he talked about those. So, Kritika, Shanmuga and all fusing together. And but what is Vishaka? Again, splitting. And I was saying there's some connection between Kritika and Vishaka. So Vishaka is splitting of branches. So again, there is some relation between the Kritika and the Vishaka Nakshatra coming again and again, or something. Indra and Indragni in the concept. And what is Oppenheimer? What he's doing? He was also doing the same process of this nuclear fusion, fission, whatever, to produce this atom bomb,
Yeah,
which he had. So that was again something very significant. Like he was breaking, like what we use in atom bomb, uranium, correct? And then uranium gets, I think, a fission happens there. Fission happens, yeah. That's atom bomb is basically based on nuclear fission. And then it splits apart, and then energy comes out, and that's what is atomic bomb. Nuclear fusion happens inside the sun, fusion. So that's happening inside the sun. And now the whole scientific community is trying to do nuclear fusion in labs to get basically energy as we get in the sun. Similarly, it's a much cleaner source. Nuclear fusion, not fission, fusion. So that's the whole thing. We are not yet been successful. We hope that we will be successful. We are close to being successful. And if that happens, much cleaner source of energy, much higher yield of energy, and that may solve all our energy problems when we could make nuclear fusion, controlled nuclear fusion in the labs, which right now happens inside the sun. Sun can do it, but we have not yet been successful in the lab. So yes, fission we are able to do, and we are exploding everything. That's fine. But fusion is, yeah. So yeah, maybe.
Another one more interesting point which came to my mind is also, I feel, this Bharani Kritika energy, which is like end of Pitrayana Nakshatra and starting of the Devayana Nakshatra, which is Kritika, the starting point, and the end point is Yama's Nakshatra Bharani. Somehow I feel is a very strong connection with Egypt and the pyramids, because you have mummies and you have pyramids, which is also the triangles which are being formed. So some connection with the Kritika and Bharani is what I strongly feel with the Egyptian, the pantheon deities, which are also carrying the, what do you call, the Ankh, right? They have a kind of an Ankh which is holding the energy. And you see, usually they are holding certain rods with certain metals to ground that energy that they are creating from the Ankh as well. So you see, most of the Egyptian deities are holding a kind of a staff, or a special staff with the Ankh, which is a special object that they are holding. So I think it is all about connecting between the Bharani and the Krittika energies, which is also about the mummification and glorification of death and all of those things, the treasures, the treasure hunters, and afterlife, and all of those themes.
Yeah, in fact, in the Egyptian thing, mummy thing, apparently they would find it's very interesting because you would actually find like graveyards, like the actual mummy burial tombs, where everything is buried and all that, but the body is missing. Like you actually find that coffin and all that, but the body is missing. So apparently, one of the things they are saying is that the like a lot of siddhars, for instance, famously siddhars converted their body to light and all that. What they're saying is that potentially what the after the burial thing, and you see a lot of this scripture, this symbols and all that in the inside the burial tomb. After the burial, literally they were able to convert their entire body to light from the coffin or something like that. That kind of thing is very interesting thing actually. So maybe there might be something there actually. So Siddhar is of course linked with Kartikeya, a huge deal in South India and all that. Potentially something like that might also be happening. It's very interesting. The one thing I want to add with Kritika is also this diet concept. So usually watch out for the diet. Diet is the food which we eat, but what is also the emotional food we eat? What are the emotions which you are nurturing? Are we focusing on more negative emotions? Are we focusing on more positive emotions? Now, in this day and age, unfortunately more the violent emotions are more easily accessible, more positive emotions, So that's something to watch out for. So that's one thing. It's interesting because Rahu is considered to be exalted in Rohini Nakshatra, but in the entire Taurus, you see that Kritika theme is going on here, and Moon is also getting exalted. It is interesting thing about. So in some Parashara beliefs, according to Parashara Rishi, the Rahu exaltation is in Taurus, but in Rohini Nakshatra. So the emotional diet aspect is one thing which I want to highlight here. Moon is getting exalted here. Are they nourishing more positive emotions? Are they nourishing more negative emotions? That seed aspect. So it's very interesting. Dr. Pai mentioned the seed and so forth, that Kartikeya seed, the fire had to be nourished by the Kritika mothers and so forth and all that. So that's a very interesting aspect. So many times with Kritika, we have to be willing to cut out emotions that are no longer serving us, cut out, in some other cases, people who are no longer connected with us, helping us grow, things like that. And of course, cutting is like a normally editor's job. So we have to be the editor of our own life and all that. So that kind of thing. Good to do that kind of thing, in general also. But anyway.
Maybe I don't know whether Krittika Nakshatra can be good editors.
Yeah,
Krittika
excellent
native.
editors for sure. Good chance. Very good. Kritika cutting, right? All day long, it is a cutting.
I
Seamstresses,
think,
tailors,
I think
people.
who's that director? No, who says the cut? The
Yeah.
movie.
Oh yeah, all
Cut.
movies cut, right? You have to do cut
Yeah.
and bring all that's so naturally entertainment is very natural for Kritika Nakshatra natives. Field work, a lot of cutting happens, editing, movie industry very easily for these natives. Good chance movie editing skills might be there. Nowadays
Second,
YouTube and all that, a lot of
second
editing,
house,
right?
no.
Yeah,
Taurus, Moon, Exiles, Venus,
easily.
house.
Yeah,
Makes sense.
movie definitely cutting for sure.
I never thought of that. I should have checked some charts of directors and producers. Maybe.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think even Bharadram once mentioned one remedy for this Anuradha. He basically asked one young boy child to basically, because Anuradha is also opposite to Kritika, he basically mentioned that ask the boy child just to cut one carrot piece and then leave. So when the boy started just cut one carrot piece and he left, slowly his studies got improving and all that and so forth. Something interesting. Maybe there is something else that comes when you just cut our vegetables regularly every day. Something else is going on there actually. Something is there. Of course, then you can use like all these Damascus steel things and all that for that. Good for that. Seeing all that. You can buy a Damascus steel chef knife set and all that. That kind of thing can be bought. You can do all that. Yeah. I've seen other thing also with water here. You can use a silver glass to drink water. Very easy way to activate Kritika. Very easy way to activate exalt moon energies also. I've seen that working also. Copper glass or silver glass to drink water is very good. Anyways, if you look at that, you can see a difference there. So could be linked with the hydrogenated water, which I mentioned before also. All that is also interesting. But yeah, okay, yeah, definitely a lot of movie stars for sure. I think one point I want to say, Dr. Pai, was that I think India is also Kritika Lagna, if I'm not mistaken. So maybe India might be having some big thing going on. people, these natives might have karma with India or something like that. That kind of thing might happen potentially. India, of course, land of fire rituals, temples and all that, but something might happen there. I think when India had the eclipse, when the second wave of corona was happening, eclipse was happening on, I think Rahu was in Krittika or the eclipse was in Taurus or something like that. When the second, it was the worst wave for India and all that. So that kind of thing actually. It was so some interesting karma is there with India also in that regard. Maybe as you mentioned, the hydrogen might be more in India or something in the future. Potential that could also happen. But yeah.
Oh, yeah. I was curious to know whether India is. I know it's a Taurus Lagna, but I don't know whether it's a Krittika or whether it's a.
Yeah, I think it's Rahu is in Krittika if I'm not mistaken. Rohini is the Lagna Nakshatra. Could be so. Not sure. Rahu is in Krittika if I'm not mistaken.
Let me. Yeah, I was just checking. Let me check it and see whether what it is. Yeah, but interesting. Yeah, definitely Krittika and Ashlesha are the two things.
Yeah.
Check. Yeah, Krittika. Yeah. Rahu is in definitely Krittika. Ascendant is also Krittika, it seems.
Okay. Yeah. So makes sense actually.
Rahu in, so both are Krittika.
Right. Because in the recently the new parliament and all that, they actually did some Murugan thing actually, right? They put the scepter or something like that, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah,
which
you see
explains
this?
that.
I've
Yeah.
just put 1:40, 1 minute 40 second, but something just not to put
Right.
well. But still, it looks like Krittika.
Right. Yeah. So maybe India might, in some karma with India kind of thing can happen with Krittika also because of that. So sometimes if the countries and nakshatras are aligned with your nakshatra, maybe you might end up in that country. Potential for that could be happening. So
That's why Indus Valley civilization, exactly when when vernal equinox was in Krittika Nakshatra.
Yeah.
Yeah, India is known for that, correct?
Right. Yeah, makes sense.
But you also say India's birth has happened with the dividing the country. So that is cutting the country into two
Cutting the country.
countries.
Exactly. Yes. Yep.
Who knows? Maybe in the future it might unite also, right? As you mentioned with Kartika and all that. So who knows? Maybe that might also happen in the future. But
And exactly where the Indus Valley civilization is, I think around that area only the cut has happened, right? The
interesting. Yeah.
Mohenjo-daro and
Right.
Harappa and wherever. I think it is almost on the border.
Yep.
Interesting. Exactly.
Yeah.
Okay,
Sure,
so shall we wrap up? Is there anything
Yeah.
else, Santhip, you wanted to add?
No, Dr. Pai, final words by you actually. Any final words you would like to add? Yeah.
No, I think this was great. I mean, we should do more such videos, and I always love to sit and absorb. There is always, no matter how many times you have done these videos, like I said before we got started, every session you sit through them, you will learn something new.
That's true.
That's how
the
fascinating it is.
The seed concept was very interesting to see how those things, and Indra, again, the concept of Indra and Agni coming together.
Yeah.
New.
So something fascinating all the time. Whenever we see anything, again, yeah, interesting that also you see that moon gets exalted here. We talked about the peacock, how Krishna also keeps the peacock on his crown to protect him as a thing. So is incarnation of, we say, the avatar, which is more closer to the sun, which means like Rama is sun, Krishna is moon. So yeah, a lot of good similarities. Good to see.
I think that's what gives a pathway, segue to the next nakshatra, Rohini, Krishna's nakshatra.
Krishna's nakshatra, exactly, coming up. Yes. Okay, thank you everybody for joining in, and I really want to thank Dr. Aditya Togi and Dr. Kanholy Santhip Krishnan for I mean, it was their idea to put this. I have in one way I want to say I want to participate, but I want to be more of an observer and I want to see what they have to say. But they always rope me into the discussion. So, but it is always great to sit with you guys and have this. We have one member which is missing. We would love to have Eve G as well as part of this. But for those of you, I just wanted to say she has bored out of Jyotisha. It's not that we don't invite her. She has made her own decision not to be doing Jyotisha, and that is her personal opinion, and I mean her choice that she has done. So we have lost a good, student, because we are all students of nakshatras. So the 4 students will be missing her, her presence. Huh?
Again, it's a cut.
I know. So something with the internet.
No, I said it's a Krittika Nakshatra came in and one member got cut. The Krittika
Exactly.
Nakshatra played it.
Exactly. We are left for Krittika. We have come with only three members. It's like a triangle, from being 4 members. Anyway, so thanks both of you for joining in. So yeah, namaskar to everybody.